Hundreds of years ago, three powerful wizards became the founders, Empire's Reinhold. Their union brought set victories in battles with monsters, and the glory spread throughout Corner's lands. As a reward for great deeds, Deed's Emperor came to visit. To everyone, ducal title hereditary girl thought about family Sagen, one from those ancient dynasties whose magic became a legend. Thoughts her slid to others, to the House of Cadrian, and then to the proud family, Utrit. All three genera are still carefully protected, their magic blood counting her symbol of honor and destiny. Sight girls fell on the book pages which were dedicated magic. Her soul was filled with inspiration, as if invisible thread connected her with something ancient and powerful. Inspired, she headed towards her parents. Heart her was full hopes. She strove open the truth about your magic, but having opened wide the door, froze on the threshold. For alarming words sounded through the door. Someone not noticing her insisted that immediately find daughter who allegedly wandered somewhere far from home. The girl didn't understand that it happens because she was here. But the mother seized panic, rejected her presence, refusing recognize her as a family member. Blood. The words that followed were more frightening. The mother demanded to find the true child, and at this moment young woman realized, in their eyes, she was substitution, fake alien. This truth hit her like a blow, leaving a deep scar trace in the heart. From that day on she strove, prove your worth, though somehow earn approval. It's passed a little time and one of the mentors with surprise celebrated her efforts. Girl really put her soul into earning a place in the world that stopped be her own. That's why she thinks that the girl is the first one who mastered all these books at such a young age. Someone else turned to the lady and claimed that she was sure the Duchess would also be glad to see her success. The main character asks if this is true, and she definitely wants to tell her mother about everything. The nanny tells the lady that this is a wonderful idea and suggests that she go with her to Madame after classes are over. A little while later, the two find themselves at the Duchess's door, and the little girl is ready to talk. After which her mother tells the person behind the door to come in, and when the nanny comes inside, the woman asks what happened, and her interlocutor replies that Miss Helga received a high grade in her economics class. But the Duchess says that if she was not able to master at least this, then she would not have the right to bear the name of the Utrit family. Well, when the nanny says that she really did an amazing job because she mastered the book, which is difficult to understand right away, even for 12-year-old young people in one sitting, the woman menacingly replies that this is why she is a member of the Utrit family, after which she tells him everything, that if only their family had not had an engagement agreement with the Imperial family, then she would have thrown away this fake in advance. Helga understands that she cannot cry now. After all, if she cries, she will disappoint her mother even more, so she needs to hold back her tears with all her might. At this time, the maid leaves the room and then turns to the mistress, but at the same moment someone else turns to the lady. It turns out that it is her mother, and the woman claims that yesterday the girl fell at the ball while dancing with His Highness. Helga is shocked by this, and the nanny asks Madam if such minor incidents are not common occurrences for young ladies. The woman responds to nothing. This is not the case when one should so stubbornly cover up someone's mistake, and one should not embarrass oneself like that in front of one's fiancé. Therefore, Helga should be punished. The woman at the same moment grabs the baby by the hand and drags her somewhere. The main character screams that she is not guilty and asks her to forgive her because she will not make such mistakes again. But at that very moment, the woman throws her on the floor and tells Helga Utrit to think carefully about the situation in which the Duke's family found itself due to her mercy. After this, Danya asks the madam to show leniency at least once, because she is ready to accept the punishment of the girl's place. The Duchess replies that only following strict disciplinary methods will allow the child to grow into a worthy person. This is especially true for the ducal family, after which the Duchess closes the door altogether. But at that very moment, the butler runs up and shouts to Milady that this girl is alive. The woman asks what he is talking about. Her interlocutor replies that the real daughter of the Duchess was found, and her name is... The Duchess asks if her daughter is alive, and the man replies that she is safe and sound, but that the child must be very sad for her mother. After which the woman says that this is not the best place for conversation and invites the butler to follow her. The main character understands what it means that this girl survived, and in her thoughts asks her not to come and also not to go back. Helga understands that she really is a bad child because she made such a disgusting wish. After which she asks the heavens to grant happiness to that girl, and to her too. At that moment, someone turns to the lady and asks if Liana is listening because the lady has gone too far. The main character asks the nanny if she is really there, and the woman answers the lady that even if it is a little cold, let her endure it for just one day. When she goes outside tomorrow, she will give the lady a beautiful knitted bracelet. The little girl replies that she is scared, and the woman claims that she will sing her a song to dispel her fears. The main character understands that every time she served her sentence in a dark attic room, her nanny was always by his side. The old nanny was the only person who always stayed by her side, and the little girl understands that her nanny is sick. At the same moment she hears the sounds of coughing and asks the nanny what happened. But when the woman doesn't answer, the girl wonders why the woman is silent. People understand that if you think about it, today is very cold weather and it is still bearable to be in the attic room, but it must be cold in the hallway. The girl immediately knocks on the door and asks if the nanny has fallen asleep. She screams for the nanny to answer, but when she hears silence in response, she wonders why she doesn't answer. At that moment, the lady unconsciously begins to use magic and the door opens, after which the little girl sees her nanny lying on the ground. The girl screams, "What is not this?" And then he lifts the nanny up and asks her to open her eyes because it is very cold there, so she needs to quickly return to the room. She also apologizes and asks if she will get up. The girl sees a knitted bracelet fall out of the nanny's hands, and taking it in her hands, the girl thinks, is it really a fake? Helga squeezes this bracelet, and he wonders if it is really a fake that will be thrown out of there in any case as soon as the original returns. One extremely cold winter night, her ardent, loving nanny, and also the only one who supported her, plunged into eternal sleep, also the only person who embraced her without any conditions. Therefore, the girl understands that she will become an impeccable duke's daughter just as her mother wants, so that she would not be forgotten even when her real daughter returned. Every time the Utrecht family was mentioned, only the image of Helga would appear in everyone's mind. That night became the first day when her life as a nowhere lady endured everything, clenching her fists until it hurt, was destroyed to the ground. From that day on, her world fell apart again and again, and so by the age of 16, the girl had grown into a dignified and graceful lady, just as the Duchess had wished. She was a noble lady from the noble ducal family of Utrecht named Helga Utrecht, half-girl and aristocrat who inherited the red liquid of a low-water maid. Helga's true face was hidden in the shadows. Now the girl remembers Heliana and understands that all this time it begged God countless times. She asked not to let that girl come back, but apparently the heavens did not heed her prayers because she was praying for a fake. Unfortunately, the majestic God did not fulfill her desperate wish. The girl enters the room, and her mother tells Heliana that the child is called Helga, and from now on this girl will help her. At the same moment, the girl greets Miss Helga, and the main character only looks at her with disgust. 16-year-old Helga Utrecht is the pride of the Duke's impeccable family. Whether it was economics, trade, or politics, she succeeded in all areas and in secular society. Everywhere the voices praising this girl parted. However, to the ducal family, she still remained only an illegitimate child. "No, here." The woman addressed her daughter and claimed that today her daughter Heliana would arrive at the mansion. The maid who swapped her cheese with her daughter is her real mother, and she went into eternal sleep about 3 months ago. She would like to immediately add Heliana to their family registry, but she is still hesitant. So they agreed to have a family dinner today, and the girl should behave properly. The woman also wonders if they should show the harmony in the family in all its glory to help the child decide. As it always was, the main character thinks whether she is talking about harmony in the family. Lente also remembers how she addressed her mother and father. But those two just passed by her, and the lady realizes that they never even gave her a glance. So what kind of nonsense is she talking about now? The woman claims that even knowing that the girl is the daughter of a servant, she raised her until now, friends, education, food, and clothing, as well as a home. Thanks to this, the girl could enjoy only the best of this world. Therefore, she should repay the kindness shown in full, and she thinks that the girl should understand better than what she means. because despite her short pedigree, the girl is an extraordinary child. After which the main character answers her mother that yes, and the woman suggests that she not be late for dinner. The lady cannot hold back her tears, and thinking about her real daughter, she does not understand whether this is so important. After that night spent in the attic, she dealt with everything perfectly just as her mother had wanted. All efforts were made only to ensure that even if the real daughter returned, no one would ever call her a fake again. And this is the price for all her suffering. The prayers with which she tried to ease her soul eventually returned to her. The child who destroyed her world to the ground is Heliana, who is the real daughter. At this time, the woman turns to her own daughter and says that from now on, this girl will help her. The little girl greets her, and the main character realizes that this lady is so similar to her that it makes her sick. If we talk about differences, it is worth mentioning this bright and beautiful smile. The lady understands that this is a strong contrast to her who has already forgotten how to smile. The girl at the same moment claims that her name is Heliana, and she is counting on the lady's help in the future. The main character understands that she has thought many times about what she should do when her real daughter returns, and whether she should be kind to her or not. After which the girl smiles and says that it is nice to meet you. A little while later, they all sit down at the table. The Duchess says she is curious to know how Heliana has been doing all this time. Her daughter replies that she was able to live happily because her mother was always there for her. But at the same moment, the Duchess claims that this woman is not her mother, after which she sighs at him and says that it's better not to rush because she's glad that the girl was happy. The main character realizes that this little girl really does look happy, after which the girl turns to Miss Helga. He wonders how his sister was doing and if she was happy. Helga asks if she really called her sister. And at that very moment, the girl stops and asks if the lady is uncomfortable because she called her sister. After which she even asks for forgiveness because she simply does not know what form of address is best to use. The main character understands that this girl so naturally called her sister, and then she even says that she just feels a little strange that someone calls her that, and the girl asks what the lady thinks about simply addressing her by name. Heliana immediately replies that it is good and says that she is still curious to know how Miss Helga has been doing all this time. And also, was she happy? The main character smiles tensely and thinks whether she is talking about happiness, and then answers that of course she is. After all, she was very happy. After dinner, the girl goes outside and thinks why this little girl gets so much love. She remains unloved by everyone. Maybe it's because this girl's meters shine with cheerfulness, and she exudes coolness, or maybe the reason for everything is that this girl is a real daughter. At the same moment, someone else comes into the garden and addresses Miss Helga. It turns out to be the same girl. The little girl asks if she can keep the lady company if she is going for a walk. She also feels a little awkward as she has suddenly dropped in on the ducal residence, and it seems that the lady has had to waste her time dining with her, therefore she would like to greet her properly. Heliana claims that she is truly happy to have come to a house where such a wonderful and harmonious atmosphere reigns. As a token of her gratitude, she wants to give her something, after which she takes the lady's hand in hers. Well, the main character seeing this immediately pushes the girl away and screams, asking what she is doing now. Her interlocutor immediately apologizes for frightening the lady and claims that she was simply going to give her a brooch that she personally chose. The main character covers her hand with the bracelet, and remembering the nanny, she understands that she needs to calm down. After all, right now, she can't show how hostile she is towards this girl. Helga claims that she should apologize because this bracelet is very dear to her, which is why she overreacted when the lady unexpectedly took her hand. Heliana immediately claims that she had no idea and asks for forgiveness. But the main character extends her other hand and says that it's okay, after which she even offers the lady to give her gift. Heliana places a brooch in her interlocutor's hand and says that she is counting on Miss Helga in the future. The main character realizes that she is doing all sorts of useless things and claims that she is the one who stole her rightful place. Her interlocutor asks what the miss is talking about, and the girl replies that she enjoyed what Heliana was supposed to enjoy. What was supposed to go to Heliana also went to her, and therefore the main character claims that she is the person who deserved her hatred. The girl immediately replies that she does not hate Miss Helga because she knows the whole truth. that she is the daughter of a ducal house and that her mother took her with her. The main character asks what she just said. Her interlocutor answers that her mother herself told her about her actions. That is why she always felt guilty in front of her, and that is exactly how she spoke. But in return, her mother surrounded her with her love so that the girl would not feel deprived of anything. The main character wonders if she felt guilty towards Heliana Olegne. The girl also wonders how it happened that Heliana was the only one this woman called to apologize to. Could it be that she couldn't find a single word for her own daughter? And for the mother who gave birth to her, and for the one who raised her, for both of them, she was just a false daughter. At this time, her interlocutor asks for forgiveness and says that her heart still hurts when she thinks about her mother. To be honest, long before they met, she knew that the lady was a very good person since she was her mother's daughter. So it's nice to know that her assumptions were correct. She always thought about how great it would be to have a sister, and meeting a lady is a very joyful event for her. She made a decision. Stay to live with her in the same house and hope that Miss Helga will help her get settled. The main character understands that she was raised without a single flaw, and this girl is so flawless that the light emanating from her hurts the eyes. Helga apologizes to Heliani, but understands that she will hate this girl that everyone loves. Therefore, he apologizes in advance. The girl then thanks Heliana for the gift because she will take care of this brooch. Her interlocutor answers that yes and suggests that they live together in peace in the future. The main character understands that in the future, let the girl be filled with even more love for her, because she will definitely use it. A little while later, one of the maids turns to the mistress. She wonders how her skin can be so soft. The maid also says that the mistress's skin retains such an unrivaled silkiness without any aromatic oils. Helga understands that after the appearance of Heliana, all the rumors attached to her like a chair by the wind remained, and only this girl remained. Mother clearly pointed out her place, and the girl understands that she was really abandoned. At this time, the maid turns to the mistress and claims that Madame told her to come to her office for a short while. The main character then agrees, but when she approaches her mother's door, then he hears someone asking if it will be too hard for Heliana to take Helga's place. Another voice replies that there is such a thing as inherited pure red liquid, and the girl will soon get used to it. The girls are already too similar to each other, so is there any point in changing their names? The woman replies that this is not just a name change, but its return to the rightful owner, from the child who was born in his relationship on the side and stole her daughter's name. The man then says that she can do as she knows, because he just thought that such actions were too premature. The woman then says that Heliana is her daughter, so she will soon get used to it and show herself much better. Then her interlocutor asks how the woman is going to deal with Helga, and the Duchess replies that this girl will have to find her place. The main character thinks if they are talking about her place and wonders if it really wasn't there but somewhere else. After which the girl completely understands that she needs to calm down, and when the helicopter happens, she tells her father and mother that she will come in. The lady claims that she was told that she was invited to, which the woman replies that yes, and soon her fiancé will come. He confidently won the naval battle, so he will become emperor without any problems. Helga thinks about her fiancé and realizes that there was such a person. This is Rohan Aslan Reinhold. The guy is the crown prince and is called a renegade by the current Imperial family. Although they had become engaged in their childhood after that meeting at the age of 12, they never crossed paths again. He is supposedly 4 years older than her, and Rohan has made his name on the battlefield countless times over the past few years. So often that even the white cloak that was the symbol of the Navy was replaced by a red one, like the color of the red liquids spilled in battles. That's why he was nicknamed the Cannibal Shark or the Demon Assassin. The Duchess at this time says that when the lady's groom returns, Anya plans to speed up the wedding ceremony. But it will not be Helga who will go down the aisle, but Heliana, because Helga is the name of her daughter, and it must be returned to its original owner. The main character understands that in the end, her name is taken away too. However, from what has been said, it follows that the position of the crown prince's wife was reserved for her, so the girl wonders why everything is like this. Helga wonders if the Imperial family will give their consent to this, and the woman says that in any case they just need a child of the Utrecht family, so of course they will agree. The Imperial family is in a hurry to get married so they can see their successor as soon as possible, and her girlfriend knows this very well, that it is impossible to break the promise to this Imperial family. The girl understands that it seems she knows why she is being pushed down the aisle. According to the rumors going around about Rohan, there is nothing human about it, so they naturally cannot send Heliana to such a beast in human form. Name will be given to Heliana and vice versa, so the girl thinks that it turns out that she will pass on to her everything that she has achieved to this day as Helga, and will eventually leave the ducal family. The main character thinks how they can throw such cruel words with such ease, and apparently the mother really wants to give her daughter everything. At this time, the woman says that the girl's mother wanted her to live the life of a duke's daughter. But she will go beyond her dreams and take the place of the empress, so how could a greater honor be bestowed upon an illegitimate child? The duchess also says that the girl must answer, and at the same moment Letty answers her mother that she will press her will. Helga understands that, as her mother wants, she will play a wedding with the crown prince, taking the name of Heliana with great fanfare in front of everyone. And then she disappears without a trace, and the lady realizes that on her wedding day she will have no other choice but to save the marriage by sending her down the aisle as Heliana. Even despite the accumulated grievances towards her due to the loss of her real daughter, together with her name she will completely disappear from her world. The lady understands that they dared to change the owner of the name at their own discretion, so let her mother really feel how painful this process is. And she also watches closely how Heliana, who is left alone, gradually breaks down like her. This path is the best way of revenge that she is able to use at the moment. Heliana was known to all as the lost twin daughter of the Duke's Chica, so the teachers who taught her were hired by her father to teach her. The girl understands that she and Heliana are an illegitimate child and an illegal daughter, so how can they even be twins? At the same moment, someone turns to Helga and asks what she is thinking about. The main character realizes that it is Dillot. Dillot Cardian is the youngest daughter of the Duke and Duchess of Cardian. Now the girl claims that she was just thinking about her younger twin sister, and her interlocutor claims that it seems the lady said that her name is Helian and is interested in what kind of person she is. The girl replies that she is very kind and adds that she is so naive that she looks like an idiot. Now she says that this girl is charming. She understands that even if it is a matter of excessive love, she should not act as if she is ready to give everything she has to one person. Helga claims that she is a truly beautiful child and thinks that she is so terribly afraid to erase that smile from her face forever. Dillot says that she still remains a country bumpkin despite her beauty, and can this girl compare to her, and besides, will she be able to learn what they had mastered up until then in a couple of months? She will simply continue to spend time around them. The main character then turns to Dillot, but understands that the lady is telling the truth, but thinks why such a truth that is clear to everyone will not be stopped. Only Mother knows. After which Dillot says okay and stop talking about it because Helga knows that her birthday is coming soon. She feels a little awkward talking about it, but her parents seem to be planning a lavish celebration. Helga asks if the girl has already decided to intrigue her. After which he even asks how about inviting Heliana too. Her interlocutor wonders if they should be reminded that aristocratic society is not the most suitable place for a stone that has disappeared from nowhere. Without a doubt, they will be seen as a peacock and a sparrow, and they will say that this is really Helga and there really is Heliana. After this, the main character says how smart her interlocutor is and thinks that this is why she likes Dillot. Her interlocutor at this time claims that Helga is the most promising person in the empire, so they can't allow anyone to brush her aside. Let them just look at the commercial enterprises that Helga has made work again. This is a shipping business that no one was interested in, this stylish business that suffered only losses because no one could find a suitable trade route. They were back afloat only thanks to her alone. After which the woman asks what business Helga decided to take on this time. The girl replies that she has now invested money in airships. Her interlocutor wonders if this is really true and whether it is possible to fly ships through the sky. The main character replies that sooner or later the girl will also travel on an airship. Dillot asks what she is talking about because for her now, it sounds like something unimaginable. At the same moment, someone asks Helga if she has heard the latest news. The main character asks what she is talking about, and her interlocutor replies that it is about the fact that the Crown Prince of Rohan will soon return. That's why the whole capital is in an uproar, and they say that the girl will become his bride. But according to rumors, the prince's heritage is extremely cruel, and so if the girl wants to, how about shifting this role to someone else? She means Heliana. Helga says that it is a great honor to occupy such a position, so let the girl put her reproachful tone aside. After all, in this way, you can become an empress. And probably Dillot asks what then the main characters do not understand, that she thinks she has already said enough and you can stop this conversation. The girl replies that it's nothing special and thinks that this way she will sow even more seeds of doubt in people's hearts. At the same moment, one of the ladies whispers to the other that Helga has started to speak vaguely, and apparently there is something she cannot tell about. The main character understands that gradually, everyone will become more and more burning with curiosity. Let them continue to talk about them endlessly, discussing how different these two are, so that the child himself feels that Helena can never replace Helga. A little while later, the girl approaches her father and says that she was told that he called her. The man replies that an invitation to a dinner party has arrived from the Imperial family, and the main character understands that the legacy of the principal will soon return, so apparently they want to enter into a marriage union with the Utrecht family as quickly as possible. The Duchess says that tomorrow the engagement will be discussed, and as the lady herself understands, Helga cannot go to that meeting. Heliana will be presented at dinner tomorrow, so let the girl try not to do anything rash and keep a low profile. The Duchess also says that their resemblance is to their advantage, since this is the last appearance of a lady in the Imperial palace. It happened in deep childhood, so no one will doubt that the lady is Helga's twin sister. Helga understands that she would like them to stop talking about their similarities, and aren't she and that stupid child who received only love completely different? At this time the woman asks why the girl is standing rooted to the spot because she should answer, and the lady at the same moment answers, "Mother, yes." A little while later, the main character holds a letter in her hands and wonders who sent it. The lady sees that it is from Rohan. The girl also remembers how a little while ago the guy claimed that he would definitely return, so she should not forget him. The main character asked what if she forgot because he couldn't come back, or too much time would pass, and he suggested that she not say that. After all, if the girl continues in the same spirit, something will break there, and let the lady promise that she will not forget him. Well, the main character promised him, and now the lady understands that as she promised, she has not forgotten him, but she wonders if the guy remembers her. Helga didn't think that the grown-up Rohan would return receiving the nickname of the Demon Killer, after which the lady takes out the letter, but is a little surprised because it says that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and he hopes that the weather will be good today, just like on the day when they meet again after a long separation. The girl understands what it means that the guy will be present at today's dinner party. The lady also wonders whether such interesting news was reported to her mother. A little while later, the Crown Prince is sitting at the table when the Duke and the Duchess enter the room. They are a little surprised, and then greet Her Majesty the Empress and His Highness the Crown Prince. The Duchess says that if she had known that His Highness had returned, he would have prepared a gift. Well, no one told her about it. The woman immediately whispers to her husband why he didn't say anything. The fact that the Crown Prince will also be present at the meeting with the lady is very important information, to which the man replies that he himself did not know that he had returned. The Duchess then wonders if this guy will recognize Helga, but then she realizes that it is simply impossible because they only met briefly in childhood and he would never recognize her. From his stony expression, it is impossible to understand anything, and for a start there is nothing else to do but follow the original plan. A little while later, the main character enters the room and greets His Majesty the Empress, and also claims that she is also of the ducal house of Utrecht, and her name is Heliana Utrecht. The Empress replies that she is pleased to meet you, and that they told her that they want the marriage to be concluded with Heliana and not with Helga. The Duchess answers Her Majesty that yes, Helga is the heir to the duchy, and if she leaves the ducal residence, it will become a big problem for the future of all their possessions, and she hopes that the ladies will show understanding for their situation. The main character understands that this is an engagement concluded in a hurry when they were just children, so perhaps there will be no difficulties on this issue because in any case, the only thing the Imperial family desires is an alliance with the duchy. The lady also thinks, as for Rohan, the atmosphere around him is not the same as in childhood. The girl then greets His Highness and claims that she is Heliana. Wipe it off. Letty wonders if he recognized her. After which the guy just grins and the main character thinks what this smile means, and also whether he smiled because he recognized her or simply gave Heliana a friendly smile. At this time the guy wonders if Lady Heliana wants to tell him something. The main character apologizes, after which everyone says that she was tactless during their first meeting. The lady once again remembers how the guy claimed that he would definitely return, so she should not forget him. After which, she completely understands that she is really funny, since she still remembered him. The Empress at this time turns to Rohan and states that she thinks his opinion is important in this matter. After all, the alliance will not be concluded with Helga as promised, but with the Lady Heliana. The girl realizes that this guy has tangled curly dark blue hair that covers his entire forehead, and also icy dry eyes with a tiny black dot of a pupil. Rohan was called the most beautiful man of the Empire, with a face, very similar features to the appearance of the Empress, who is one of the most beautiful women in the Empire. This guy achieved the status of a swordmaster when he was only 15, and he was such a brilliant strategist and swordsman that he could easily win all the battles on numerous battlefields. The lady understands that unlike her, he was an emperor by birthright and not a fake like her. At this time, the guy turns to his mother and says that if her bride is from the Utrecht family, then it doesn't matter who exactly she will be. The main character thinks that it turns out that that smile meant that he didn't care who exactly from the Utrecht family would take the place of his bride. In the end, he only needed the Utrecht family label. At this time, the Empress says that since the Crown Prince is not against it, everything is working out as well as possible, and she thinks that His Imperial Majesty might give his consent. The Duchess immediately thanks Her Majesty, and her interlocutor says that since the Crown Prince met Lady Heliana for the first time, it would be nice if they took a little walk together. The guy immediately gets up from his seat and says that then they will leave them and suggests that they go. The main character agrees and follows him. As they walk down the corridor, the girl clenches her fists, and His Highness, turning to her, wondered if the lady had a habit of clenching her fists. The main character immediately hides her hands and replies that because of the meeting with him, she apparently unconsciously became nervous. At the same moment, the guy extends his hand, and the lady looking at it is a little surprised. The prince says that these are the scars left after he grabbed the blades of the sword with his hand. The girl wonders if he is trying to intimidate her, but her interlocutor claims that he thought that since it was her, that will show some concern. Helga asks him what he's talking about since they met for the first time today. The prince repeats the word for the first time again and claims that this is also not bad. He turns to the lady again and asks if they really met for the first time today. The main character wonders if he is really trying to get her to come clean, and the question was not asked directly, so there is no need to answer it. Then the lady asks where she could meet His Highness. The guy with a smile on his face replies that it is funny, and he asks if the girl is ready to follow him and sing. He will show her the Imperial Palace. Helga replies that she is happy to and understands that the meeting with Rohan was much more fun than she thought, unless you counted the smile he sometimes gave her, which made her wonder what was on his mind. A little while ago, the boy also smiled and claimed that it was a lie because the girl was lying again, saying that everything was fine. Her appearance now contradicts her words because he sees right through the lady, after which he once again turned to Helga and asserted that she did not need to pretend or deceive in front of him. One only has to look into her eyes, and he immediately understands what is going on in her soul. As a child, the girl was frightened by the smile that seemed to say that he knew everything, and she was trembling at the thought that even the weaknesses hidden in the depths of her heart could be revealed. Nothing has changed because she sees that same smile, and this guy seems to know absolutely everything, but the girl thinks what to do. After all, she no longer wants to be weak, and touching her bracelet, the girl understands that the Helga he remembers fell into eternal sleep along with the nanny that winter night. She doesn't particularly care that Rohan might notice who she is, or even that he might somehow be able to prevent her escape. Because now she has the power to protect her 3 ducal families are possessed by a red liquid with a talent for magic. The lady thinks that she is interested in what expressions on their faces will tell them that it was she who inherited it. Magic is her own power and the only power that can protect her, so she has nothing to fear anymore. With the power given to her, the girl will definitely escape from this hell. A little while later, the lady is heading out with her mother in a carriage, and the woman asks what His Highness said. The girl replies that nothing special, and her interlocutor says that thank God. Helga would be broken off. In a month, their engagement will take place, and then in another month, the wedding ceremony will be held. The main character replies that the wedding will take place in 2 months, and this is much faster than she thought. The woman claims that no matter what the engagement, she will remain Helga, and depending on the circumstances, of course, she will have to play the role of Helion as she did today. They will completely change places in a month on the day of the engagement ceremony. The main character says that Mother wanted to immediately swap them, and why did she change her mind? The woman replies that at the moment her daughter has not yet adjusted to her new life, so it would be illogical to let her go into high society as Helga since she grew up knowing nothing about noble culture. However, having received the appropriate education, she will soon be able to imitate her perfectly. She does not intend to show her daughter until she has mastered the basics of noble culture, and until her daughter is ready, the girl can borrow her name for a while. The woman thinks that this girl will become a model duke's daughter faster than some fake one because she is her real daughter. And the main character thinks that her mother should teach her everything as soon as possible because the one who will go to the Imperial family will be Heliana. The woman at this time says that therefore Helga should help Heliana with her studies and share with her everything that she has managed to learn so far. The main character is surprised by this and thinks about what her mother is now suggesting she do. The girl immediately answers that she doesn't want to, but the woman asks in surprise what she said. The Duchess says that she has put up with her mother's vile behavior and raised the girl all this time, and now it is her turn to pay the bills. How can she be so shameless and ungrateful? The main character then talks about feeling ashamed, and she claims that she tried everything to get recognition for her merits, and in one moment, without any effort, everything was taken away from her, but Mother dares to say that she has no conscience and shame. The woman asks if Helga dares to cross paths with her, and tomorrow she will send Heliana along with the teacher to her room so that the girl can make sure that she does not make any mistakes. Helga understands that she needs to be patient and control herself because by provoking her mother, she will not gain anything from this, after which the girl asks for forgiveness, and she says that she will prepare everything for the lesson and will not make a single mistake. Now the lady must put aside all her personal feelings, and the girl says that for the sake of Heliana, who is in first place, she will do it. A little while later, someone turns to Miss Helga and asks if this is true since she can't learn this piece properly. The main character replies that politics is initially the most difficult subject, and if the lady repeats it over and over again, she will soon learn everything. The girl at the same moment replies to Lady Helga that she will try her best. Helga tells the girl to call her simply by her first name, because where did she fly out of the twin sisters who use the words miss when addressing each other? When her interlocutor is about to object, the main character turns to the teacher and says that, as she herself can clearly see, they still have not adapted to many experts. After which, the girl says that she trusts her so she doesn't even show such an appearance with her, and she is able to show understanding. The main character understands that the teacher, who has been with her since early childhood, is perfectly creating the current situation and therefore will keep his mouth shut about what is happening there. When she looks at Heliana, she understands that the girl is already bored, because let her mother be at any price, because this is the main difference between her and this girl. After they attended the dinner party and returned to the residence, they attended various classes together for several days. These included etiquette training, a basic course of elementary knowledge, and even various academic subjects. Heliana's favorite activity was horse riding. Apparently running, using her body, is more fun for her than thinking with her head. The main character wonders if it would be funny to try to make a copy of her out of a child who is so far from the aristocratic world. At the same moment, someone else turns to the lady, and when the maid opens the door, the girl asks if it is Sienna. The maid replies that the lady has received an invitation from the county of Cardian, Dillot's birthday party. And for Heliana too, an invitation came, after which the girl smirks and turns to her sister. Her interlocutor immediately responds, and the main character says that the two of them were sent an invitation to a reception in honor of Lady Dillot's birthday. It was a birthday party for a very close friend of hers, so she wanted Heliana to go with her. The girl immediately answers that she agrees, after which the main character turns to the teacher and asks to finish the lesson as soon as possible. After all, she thinks that they will need to take the time to choose their outfits. A little while later, someone asks if these are really the young ladies of the Utrit family. So the rumors go they really are very similar. The main character understands that everything is going as she expected. The more people's eyes and expectations are directed at them, the better, because their expectations will become the mother's expectations. At the same moment, the woman turns to Helga and asks if the invitation to the party was really her doing. The main character replies that Dillot was also curious to see Heliana, so she thought that this was a great opportunity, and it would also be nice for Heliana to try to meet her peers and from aristocratic families. The woman says that apparently the girl had already managed to forget what she told her a few days ago or had managed to hit her head somewhere. Helga replies that Heliana especially words in subjects related to high society. Well, the woman asks, didn't she tell her to pass on to her everything the girl has learned so far? The main character replies that her excellent conversational skills are not something she learned at her desk. Everything turned out this way only because her mother considered experience to be a very important attribute of life, and so she constantly brought her, who was a timid child, into high society. The woman replies that she made it clear that Heliana is not yet well trained enough and therefore cannot be taken with her to social events. At that moment, she grabs the girl and asks how dare she try to humiliate her and her daughter. But the main character at the same moment suggests that mother calm down because there are too many eyes there. Unlike the estate, the woman at the same moment pushes her daughter and claims that Helga had a thread sticking out of her shoulder, so she didn't realize she sniffed the turf, and the woman wonders if she was scared. After which, she even suggests talking about the morning classes, to which the girl replies that everything went well. And then he even wonders if Heliana studied fencing because her movements are unusual, unlike hers. The main character understands that she knew that long ago her mother was a knight, and most likely all the talent was inherited by Heliana from her mother. The girl asks if she thinks it would be a good idea to teach Heliana fencing. The woman replies that she can do whatever she wants, and the main character wonders if that is really true. She wanted to be like her mother, so the girl, even without any talent, trained hard, but at that time, no one supported her in any way. Heliana, just because she is a biological daughter, can easily get anything she wants, and also the love of her mother. The girl was getting what she wanted most in the world, and in return, Heliana would lose something else. At this social event, she will make everyone firmly remember how much they are filmed differently from each other. Later, even if she imitates, her doubts will arise in everyone's soul, and they will all be somewhat puzzled. At this time, someone else is watching them and understands that the Utrit family, who are being hotly discussed in society, has arrived in the center of the capital. The lady's face took on an expression of boredom, after which the guy rang the bell. And when one of the waiters asks if the gentleman called, the guy tells him to give the note to Lady Helga Utrit. The young man immediately agrees, and a little while later the main character thinks which hotel it is. At that moment, someone turns to the lady and says that he was sent to give her a note. The main character wonders who it is from, and when she opens it, it says that if the lady continues to walk around with such a bored face, premature wrinkles will appear, so wouldn't it be better in that case to spend time with him? The main character sees that Aslan is written there and understands that this is Rohan's second name. The girl wonders if he is somewhere nearby now. The lady here already turns around and understands that anyone can recognize him, after which she thinks where he is. The girl looks at the man sitting next to this messenger boy, but realizes that he has blonde hair. At the same moment, the guy looks at the lady and, showing the scar on his hand, smiles. Helga realizes that he used a magical artifact to change his appearance. At this time, the lady's mother turns to her, and the girl claims that she was invited to the table by an acquaintance. The girl also asks if she can leave them for a while. The woman wonders if she is talking about someone she knows, and if it is someone connected with the business of the airships in which she lived money. If the lady succeeds this time, it will only benefit the Utrit family, after which the woman says that she can go. Heliana turns to Miss Helga and wants to tell her, but her mother grabs the girl by the hand and says that she should go with her. The main character looks at how these two are holding hands and then turns around saying that she will be back soon. A little while later, the lady enters one of the establishments and looks for Aslan. The guy immediately tells her to come in. The main character looks at him and understands that she needs to be careful, since in theory this is their first meeting after such a long separation. The lady at the same moment says how many years and winters, because the last time they saw each other was when she was 12, so it turns out that 4 years have already passed. The guy replies that it's been a while and they really haven't seen each other for a long time. He saw the lady when she was passing by, so he called her. Although he was glad to see her, the girl looked tired, after which he puts a glass of sweets in front of the lady. The main character understands that the advice is a dessert made from fruits. Mom never allowed her to eat sweets because they are harmful to her figure. But now the guy says that Helga has an expression on her face as if she is seeing dessert for the first time. The girl replies that it is easy to get fat from sweets, but her interlocutor says that it also lifts the mood, so let the girl try it. When he looks at the lady, he understands that now her facial expression corresponds to her age. And now the girl looks much better than when she was next to the Duchess. After which the guy asks how she likes the dessert. The lady replies that it is so sweet that she can't even collect her thoughts. The prince, looking at the lady's hand, understands that she still has the habit of clenching her fists so hard every time she has a hard time that there are traces of her nails, and it seems that everything has become much worse, and the scars on her palms have remained the same. So he wonders who the hell she was trying to fool. After which the prince asks if the girl gets along well with her younger sister. At first, the girl wants to answer something, but then she falls silent and claims that if Aslan marries her sister, she will leave the mansion again. Therefore, is it possible for any hostility to arise in such a short period of time? If the younger sister leaves, then only she will remain alone. But the girl understands that more precisely, only Heliana will remain alone, pretending to be her. Everything that was her heavy burden in the past will become Heliana's heavy burden, and then Mother will clearly feel the emptiness from her losses. The guy then replies that everything is as it is, and the lady will remain alone, and then he gets up and says that it's time for him to go. Before leaving, he would like to give her a gift, and handing the lady a box, he asks if she has ever tried something like this. Helga asks what it is. Her interlocutor says that when she is in a bad mood, then let the lady eat this thing and she will immediately feel better. However, he would like her to always be well and never have any reason to open this box. Helga, at the same moment, thanks him. The guy understands that, as he thought the summer suits him better when she smiles like that. A little while later, the girl heads back to her mother and realizes that thanks to Rohan, after a long time, she has the opportunity to be alone. No matter how much the girl thinks she still has to visit, while at the same time people understand that they can't allow any of the passers-by to notice how she's heading to that place. So after such a long break, she needs to use a little magic. When the lady does this, she realizes that she has succeeded because for ordinary people, she has become invisible. After which the girl follows the magical street called Utopia. This is what people called this place, and all knowledge about wizards, their origin and genealogy is sold there, and also ways of mastering magic and methods of creating magical artifacts, and this place is like a paradise for ladies. And also the only refuge that became more and more difficult to visit due to the close supervision of the mother. The shop owner at this time says that the lady has not visited for a long time. The main burning is only interested in whether there are any new books there. Maybe there are tracts about the lost magic that she spoke about earlier. The woman replies that of course there are, and the lady is in a utopia. After which she hands the lady the book, and the main character says that she is very grateful to her. When the girl leaves the shop, she realizes that if she is going to leave the ducal family, it would be nice to look at the potion and magical artifacts that are hard to find. She needs to get ready little by little because in that case she will really be able to leave that damned house. The girl also opens a box of candies, and when she takes one of them, she immediately realizes that it is so sweet. These candies taste so sweet that it makes her mouth hurt. But the lady smiles. And he says that the feeling is not so bad. A little while later, the woman enters the last studio and understands that it is considered the most luxurious and expensive salon on this street. However, there is not a single dress that would suit Heliana, and the problem is not in the dress. After all, it seems the problem lies in the awkward movements and confused expression on her face. and also in a smile in which there is not a drop of elegance, after which the woman sighs, and she understands that although the girl looks like Helga, she could not even imagine that they are so different. If she had lived in the Utrecht residence, Tony would have grown up to be such an uncouth country bumpkin. If she had grown up in a ducal family, she would have coped much better than Helga. But no matter how much they hide it, the noblewoman and the maid are two different birds of a feather. A little while later, someone greets Lady Helga. One of the workers claims that the lady arrived on time because Lady Heliana had just finished the fitting. Another worker claims that Lady Dillot is also there and is waiting for her turn inside. The main character asks if this is Dillot and then thanks him for the information. The woman at this time understands that in the current situation they will be compared even more. The Duchess also turns to Helga and asks if she has sorted out her affairs. The main character answers her mother that yes, but at the same moment someone else turns to Helga and she says that she is there, so let the girl look there. It turns out to be Dillot, and the woman tells the girl to go to her. Dillot, at this time, tells her friend to come quickly from these. Heard that the girl will arrive. She ordered to brew wonderful tea. Helga wonders what the girl is doing there because didn't she order bad ones in advance? Her interlocutor replies that this is how it was. She has recently become addicted to desserts, so she has gained a little weight and the dress she ordered is a little tight in the back area. The main character replies that as far as she is concerned, the lady hasn't changed at all, but her interlocutor asks if her friend can be honest with her. But the girl at this time notices that it seems Dillot has changed her maid. Her interlocutor replies that when she gained weight due to constant snacking, she became very irritable and took out her anger on the maid. Having learned about what had happened, her mother kicked her out and assigned her to a more suitable servant. The main character realizes that another servant was thrown out because of the whim of a noble lady. This is a common thing in a high-ranking noble family. A little later, he says that everything turned out as well as possible. And in fact, she had already closed her eyes several times to the fact that the maid was reaching out with her little hands to her jewelry. Helga wonders why she turned a blind eye to this, and the girl replies that nevertheless, as a servant, she understood quite well what she wanted. And she felt comfortable going out with her. Because of a fleeting flash of the day, everything turned out this way, and she probably should have held back. The main character understands that if you look at the situation more closely, it becomes clear that Dillot does not even know the name of that maid, and she shows sympathy to the servants only to the most insignificant degree. At the same moment, the lady thinks about the maid's daughter and wonders what will happen if the truth about her origin is revealed. Dillot, of course, immediately turns away from her. At the same moment, the girl turns to Helga and asks if her younger sister is really there. The main character replies that it is true, and her friend must have convinced her for the first time. Dillot claims that she heard the two are similar, so she probably expected too much from her. Helga wonders if they are copies of each other since they even have the same hair and eye color. Well, her interlocutor replies that they are different. At that moment, the girl gets up and screams that she is serious. After all, they are absolutely different and not a bit similar to each other. The girl answers that this is true, because they are absolutely different. The main character thinks how she could have said those words that she longed to hear at such a timely moment. But at that moment, who else turns to Helga? It turns out to be her mother, and the woman claims that the lady should look at Heliana's dress with her. After all, this is the last test, to which the main character agrees. Her friend says what a pity it is, and says goodbye to Helga. At this time, the woman turns her attention to the lady's hands and says that she has not seen these gloves on her. The main character replies that she really liked them when she returned there, so she bought them, and the lady also asks if they are beautiful. The girl understands that it is all because she is worried about Rohan's gaze, which stopped so many times on her scars. If you don't look closely, it's not particularly visible, but he noticed. At the same moment, someone else turns to Miss Helga. It turns out that Heliana, their main character, is asking if she likes dresses. The girl replies that no matter what she says, they are all terribly uncomfortable, and she feels like she is wearing something that doesn't suit her. After which she whispers to her interlocutor whether she saw the prices because everything there is too expensive, and for the price of one dress, she can live comfortably for 3 years. Helga understands that everything is as expected because what she has accumulated over a certain period of time and everything that she has learned cannot be learned in just a couple of times, after which she asks her mother to expect more from her real daughter. Now the girl says that she thinks this is becoming more and more suitable for Miss Helga. But the main character says that Heliana should not feel burdened because this is only a small part of what she will enjoy in the future. The girl at the same moment tells Miss Helga that it is good. The girl claims that it is a beautiful dress and it suits the lady very well. At the same moment, Heliana thanks her, and the main character thinks that she is not worth the gratitude. The girl thinks what an idiot Helena is because she is going to go out into high society to personally demonstrate the difference between them, and she is the one who should thank her. Dillot's birthday arrived, and the main character together with her sister headed to the mansion. At the same moment, the girl tells her sister that the young lady must put on masks. The main character understands that her friend has come up with a wonderful fun this year too. At the same moment, the butler announces that Lady Helga and Lady Heliana from the Herzen house of Utrecht have arrived. At the same moment, someone else approaches one of the ladies and claims that he was waiting for her. This guy is interested in how the business she is currently running is going. This girl is Heliana and doesn't even know what to answer, but at the same moment the main characters don't approach them, and she says that her interlocutor spoke with Heliana, she is Helga. The man then answers that it is because of the mask. He is a little confused, so he asks them both for forgiveness for his tactlessness. The main character replies that it's not a big deal because his words about him waiting for her are much more important. The aristocrat replies that he wanted to talk to her about the business related to flying ships and is interested in what future she predicts for such machines. He also says that there is no longer any advantage in using land and sea means of transportation because it has all become very difficult. But can such a pile of metal really float in the sky? The main character distinguishes that a test flight has already been conducted, and although it did not last long, it was completed successfully. At the same time, the aristocrats say in surprise that, as expected, the Utrecht family is indeed lucky to have such an outstanding daughter. Helion at this time thinks how smart Miss Helga is, and she is really amazing. In the blink of an eye, people crowded around Miss Helga, and as she thought Miss Helga was magnificent, and in comparison with her, but at the same moment someone interrupts the girl's thoughts and says that Helga is there. The aristocrats opposite the ladies say that they will leave her, and at the same moment the other ladies say that this is what was expected, because even there their Helga is busy with business. However, one of the ladies wonders which of them is Helga. At the same moment someone pushes the lady apart and asks what kind of a gathering of fools this is. After all, they still haven't recognized Helga. It turns out to be Dillot, and the woman asks her friend if she has had dinner yet. The girl replies that neither she nor Heliana have had dinner yet. To which the woman replies that this is wonderful because she just ordered the table to be set for her personally, and the girl asks if Helga will go with her. The main character then turns to Heliana and says that she thinks she should go with the birthday girl. Heliana understands that this is her first time in such a place, so she doesn't know if she can cope alone. But then the girl realizes that she can't rely only on Miss Helga forever, after which she invites Miss Helga to go, and the main character claims that she will return soon. When the girl leaves, Heliana thinks that Miss Helga should return quickly. Well then, the girl also turns around and notices many glances at her. The lady understands that all eyes are directed only at her, and she doesn't even know what to do. A little while later, someone approaches the girl and asks if she is the lady rumored to be there. The woman asks if she is scared and if this is her first time attending an event of this kind. The girl replies that this is exactly how it is, after which the woman offers to join the days of Penza for an interesting conversation. She will relax, and it will become much more comfortable for her to be there. Heliana wonders where they are going, and at the same moment, one of the aristocrats says that they really look alike. Although not so much Lady Helga, well, this lady should also be talented. Someone else answers that she doesn't even know because at least she probably won't give reasons for disappointment. Because she is related to Miss Helga. A little while later, someone asks if this is true and if Lady Helga really has such a side. The girl replies that yes, she likes it when Miss Helga wears simple outfits. Then one of the nobles asks if Lady Heliana can share with them how Lady Helga is currently doing. The girl replies that it seems that in recent days she has started wearing lace gloves, and she also thought that it was very beautiful. It seems that everyone likes any actions of Lady Helga. Another girl says that it is so because there is also madly like that the lady looks very much like Helga. And this girl who looks exactly like Lady Helga and even has such a sweet expression on her face. Heliana at this time realizes that thanks to Miss Helga, they were able to quickly get along. But at the same moment, someone else turns to the lady and asks how she feels after the engagement ceremony with the crown prince turned upside down. After all, Lady Helga was originally the crown prince's fiancée, but at the same time her engagement was broken off, so what happened must have deep meaning for Lady Helga. After this, the girl looks at these people in surprise and wonders what they are saying. One of them says that the lady has an expression on her face as if she is hearing about this for the first time. Heliana wonders if they really mean to say that she is engaged to the crown prince. Everyone is looking at her as if they know it perfectly well. And if she denies it right there and now, saying that she doesn't know anything about what happened, then all those eyes will be filled with hostility. They might begin to see what had happened as a sign that her mother had secretly given Miss Helga's property to her. Then Miss Helga will look like she lost her things because of a country bumpkin like her. The girl cannot cause her any inconvenience by giving rise to such rumors and claims that nothing has been turned upside down because she is only following the will of Lady Helga. After all, she wanted it herself. One of the aristocrats asks if this is really how things are. The girl understands that this is the best answer she can afford. But then she wonders what the words about an engagement to the crown prince mean. At this time, the main character is eating desserts, and her interlocutor asks if she likes them. The girl replies that it is incredibly delicious, and Dillot claims that there are so many delicious dishes in front of her eyes, and she can only eat everything with her eyes. It's really some kind of torture, but the main character, does not answer that. Nevertheless, today is her birthday, so she thinks that Letty can give herself a little indulgence. Her interlocutor replies that she also thinks so, but the mother says that it is precisely on such days that it is necessary to develop self-control. Helga claims that she feels like she needs something there to improve her mood, after which the maid opens the box and the main character says that it is her gift. When the woman asks what is there, she sees a magic wand. The wands of the wizards who founded the 3 ducal families are famous enough to feature in history books. The gift that was given to Dillot is the one that Cadrian's ancestors had longed for in the past, Sagen, Cardian, and Utrit. The reason why the middle 3 families of the ducal line of Cadrian were discriminated against. It was that they lost this magic wand, so they said that the gift was not intended only for Dillot, but for the ducal family of Cadrian as a whole. This gift will finally put an end to the humiliation of the Cadrian family and put it on the same level as other duchies. The main character now says that she prepared this gift especially for Dillot. At this time, her interlocutor asks how Helga found it, and the girl asks if she likes her gift. The girl replies that it is natural, and Helga is really the best, because now, even if she gains weight, her mother will never put her down. The main character understands that in the end, it was worth shocking the entire black market of Utopia for this moment. Her efforts still bore fruit, and from now on, Dillot is in great debt to her. Therefore, if she ever needs help, she and her family will definitely extend a hand in her direction. At this time, one of the maids turns to the lady and claims that a gentleman waiting outside asked her to give her a note. The main character opens this note and sees that it says that the guy came to sell a new batch of candy and he will wait for her on the balcony. Dillot asks Helga what is written there and who the note is from. She also asks why her friend is smiling and asks to show her. The main character understands that Rohan's return is still kept secret and the girl does not understand why he came there. After which the lady tells Dillot that someone wants to see her, so apparently she will have to leave her. Her interlocutor asks if she is really not going to tell who this person is until the very end, but Helgi has too many secrets from her, so she is terribly upset. The main character replies that this has nothing to do with her, and besides the secret is not hers at all, so she cannot tell anything and asks for understanding. Heliana says that regarding the engagement, Lady Helga herself wanted it, and asks the woman if this is really how things are. The prince at this time thinks whether she is saying that this is Helga's own desire. Hey, the girl chose the most appropriate phrase to get out of a difficult situation, although he doesn't like that. She brought Helga's name into the conversation. Seeing the girl's puzzled face, one can conclude that everything follows the will of the Duchess. Both before and now, it has always been an extremely superficial love towards Helga, but at that very moment, someone else comes up to the balcony and addresses Aslan. This girl says that she still has a lot of candies left in stock. The guy replies that he is glad to hear that she doesn't need them, and then asks if she can extend her hand. The main character does so but wonders why he suddenly needed her hand. After which the guy takes off her glove completely and the girl, surprised, tries to take her hand back. The prince suggests that she wait a little because he just needs to give her something. Then he takes out another pair of gloves and asks if this one isn't prettier. The main character, looking at it, understands that the lace is denser, so scratches from nails are not visible at all. The girl immediately replies that they really are much more beautiful than the previous ones. After which the prince says that this is good and he did what he came for, so he will leave her. He also says that if the lady needs candy, she can contact him at any time. A little while later, someone runs up to the lady and claims that Lady Heliana asked to pass on something, that she is the first to return to the residence, and the main character wonders if she really went alone. Helga understands that such a stupid child would never leave alone without a special reason, and apparently something interesting happened to the girl in her absence. When the lady returns home, her mother asks why the girl returned home alone. But the lady looks resolutely at her mother. "Hello, what does this mean? Believe me, why should she replace Miss Helga, and how can she even take such a place?" At this time, the woman shows the girl to be quieter, and the main character, following the maid, asks what happened. And the maid answers the lady that she returned earlier than she thought, and it seems that Lady Heliana found out about what took the place of the Crown Prince's bride. The main character understands that this is why her sister returned to the mansion one, and mother was extremely short-sighted. In high society, they would never miss the opportunity to discuss such a hot topic as the change of the Crown Prince's bride. At this time, the Duchess tells Heliana that everything has already been decided, but the girl claims that they have never talked about this. The girl asks if it makes any sense that she will replace Miss Helga and Miss Helga will become her. The woman cries out that from the very beginning the name Helga belonged to her, and moreover the girl herself gave her consent. At the same moment, the main character enters the room and the woman claims that the lady has just returned, so let the girl ask her personally. At the same moment, Heliana turns to Miss Helga, and the main character is shocked and wonders why she is crying now. Is she really offended because everything was decided without asking her opinion? And besides that, she has no reason to cry. The girl at this time asks how she can replace Miss Helga, and how someone like her can manage the duchy instead of her. The main character understands that it was she who came back to deprive her of everything. Why is the girl crying so much? It's against the rules. Anyone who looks from the outside will misunderstand the situation, and it is not the girl who means that the ladies are crying because of her who had everything taken away from her. The woman at this time whispers for Helga to speak directly, and the main character asks Heliana not to say so because they are sisters. The girl thinks how tiring it is, after which she claims that in fact, sister will even help her a little in this way. After all, she herself understands perfectly well that Helga is a name that cannot leave the duchy. Heliana replies that for this reason, Miss Helga must become the successor of the family. But her interlocutor replies that, frankly speaking, she loves the Crown Prince, and adds in her thoughts that if she uses such an excuse, the girl will be more willing to calm down. Heliana wonders if this is true, and the lady's mother only smirks in response. At this time, the girl approaches her interlocutor and claims that one of them must certainly become the successor to the family, and Helga's name must belong to the officially appointed heir. But she wants to tie the knot with the Crown Prince as soon as possible, so even though she feels guilty towards her. However, I wonder if the lady using her name could take responsibility for the ducal estates into her own hands. The girl then tells Miss Helga that she had no idea what was in her soul. Therefore, she will try her best not to be a burden to Miss Helga. The main character thanks the girl for making such a difficult decision. But then the lady thinks how annoying it is, because why should she calm the girl down and explain everything to her? The victim there is, and the situation has developed in such a way that she has to appease her tormentor Heliana, who does not even know that being stupid is also a sin, and that cowardly duchess, she wants to take revenge on them all, and the girl realizes that she is truly furious. A little while later, a week had passed since Rohan returned to the capital, but only now did he officially announce it in the daily newspaper. At this time, the maid wondered whether His Highness the heir had been warned, but she wondered why there had been such a hubbub on the street so early in the morning. The main character then closes the newspaper and asks if Sienna can read. The maid is a little surprised, but claims that no one would hire a maid who could read, so she hid this fact and asks for forgiveness. The main character understands that if she had known that the maid could read, she would never have opened the letters and invitation when she was behind her back. The girl wonders if this is the very reason why only Sienna was left next to her, so that she could be aware of all her affairs. Helga then turns to the maid and says that it turns out that she was reading about the contents of her letters and invitations. All this time the girl replies that nothing of the sort, because how can she read her correspondence? The main character then turns to Sienna and asks what family she is from. The woman replies that she is not a noblewoman, therefore she has no surnames, and the girl wonders if her mother, who is obsessed with the purity of her family, chose a servant without family or tribe to spy on her. The girl claims that she also doesn't particularly like having a maid who can read, because she can report her actions to her mother at any moment, but her interlocutor replies that she never planned to stay with her for such a disgusting reason, and that she simply found herself in debt to the lady one day, and that is why she stayed longer. Then she started stealing, and one day she met the lady. The main character realizes that she was 12 years old. Then it was the day when she, tired of her mother's cold attitude, slipped away from the Duke's house and wandered around the city. At that moment she caught a sloppy child with a burn on his forehead stealing. The girl asked her to spare her only once because her mother was very ill. The main character said that since they were the only two there, the girl could leave. She also handed the baby some jewelry and some gold coins and claimed that these things meant nothing to her. Helga wonders if she is that child, and when the lady lifts the maid's hair, then he sees her scar, and the maid claims that thanks to Leda, her mother got better and she swore allegiance to her savior for the rest of her life. The main character realizes that it doesn't look like she's pretending and wonders whether she should trust her just once. After which the girl says that it's good that she's interested in whether the maid is ready to do anything for her. The girl replies that let the lady just say the word because she will fulfill any of her requests even if it costs her life. Helga smiles at the same moment and understands that in her position she was able to acquire an amazing maid, and even her parents were never on her side. The main character then says that it's good and she will trust Sienna, so she says that she shouldn't disappoint her. The maid understands that, as expected, the lady is very beautiful when she smiles, and she wonders why the Duchess hates such an exquisite and beautiful lady. She means that the lady is on a different level from Lady Heliana from birth. A little while later, someone approaches Miss Helga and says that she needs to deliver a letter, and then asks if she can come in for a moment. The main character replies yes, after which Heliana hands her a letter. When the girl opens it, she sees that it is from Rohan, and in this letter the guy wrote that he is looking forward to meeting his bride after so much time. Heliana says that, to be honest, she was a little surprised when the lady said that she loved His Highness the Crown Prince, because there is nothing more beautiful than love. As the lady wishes, even though she is a little lacking, she will study hard and become an amazing Helga. The main character thinks, is she really saying that she will do as she wishes? The girl at this time says that Miss is really great, because seeing how honest she is in her feelings, she fell in love with her again. Helga understands that you girl does not notice anything around you, or he is deliberately hurting her, but no matter what the answer is, she doesn't like either option. The fact that she behaves in this way without knowing anything causes her even more trouble. A little while later, the main character says that she will be back soon, after which the woman puts her hand on her shoulder, and he whispers that from the moment the lady steps out of the house, she should not forget that she is Heliana. If because of the slightest mistake the Imperial family and the Utrecht clan quarrel, then she will have to bear responsibility. After this, the main character clenches her fists and tells her mother not to worry. At this time, the prince is waiting for the lady in the restaurant, and when she comes, he says that they haven't seen each other for a long time. The main character greets His Highness and asks if she is late. The man replies that no, he came too early and he came 2 hours before the appointed time. The main character says that if she had known about this, she would have left earlier too. But her interlocutor says he thought he might have to wait and see. He thought he needed to try to feel what her heart had become after waiting for her for 4 years. The girl asks what he is talking about because she has never waited for him for such a long period of time. The guy answers Lady Heliana that this is true because she is too similar to Helga, so he is confused for a moment. If you look closely, you can see that they are really different. The way Helga smiles is different from the way the lady smiles, so when she returns to the residence, can she ask Helga how she felt at that moment, when after 4 years of waiting, she was told that Lady Heliana would be walking down the aisle with the crown prince. The girl replies that she will pass on his question, but she wonders if he is really asking what she feels. Rohan himself knows everything perfectly well because she feels as if a tin box full of sweet candies has been taken away from her. At this time, the guy tells the lady to sit down, and when the main character does so, then suddenly he hears someone shouting out greetings to His Highness the Crown Prince. The brunette sitting in front of her asks if it's not funny since he is there. They did not doubt for a second that the Crown Prince was riding there on horseback and continued to sincerely send joyful cries in the direction of that man. But upon closer inspection, everything is not so, because if you really pay attention, you can easily see the difference. Between the fake and the original, the guy claims that when he returned one, what he was going to do was apologize to Helga for waiting so long. The main character wonders if he is saying that he is apologizing, but this is a word that she has never heard from the lips of those who did much more to her for which it would be worth asking for forgiveness. But Rohan apologizes to her only because he made her wait for him for 4 years. The guy at this time claims that there is something more important than this, and when he gets up from his seat, then he approaches the lady and takes her hand in his. The main character realizes what an idiot she is. After all, how could she forget that these gloves were a gift from Rohan? At this time, the guy claims that the marks from the nails look even more painful than before and asks whether to send him medicine. The main character doesn't even know what to answer to this and understands that he just needs to behave as before. And didn't he turn a blind eye to what was happening, pretending not to know her? And now that everything has gone so far, he is trying to pretend that he knows absolutely everything. The girl understands that if the lie is revealed now, both her mother's plans and hers will be completely destroyed. Now she can't let that happen. The guy just sighs and claims that it wasn't the most important thing. And also addresses her as Helga Uhtred, wonders what this damned ducal family did to her. The main character is a little surprised by this. Her interlocutor claims that he shouldn't have left her in that place for those 4 years, after which he even asks the girl to say what she wants because he will do as she wishes. Helga replies that she doesn't understand what he's getting at and she really doesn't know what His Highness is talking about. But the guy suggests that Helga stop lying and wonders why every time they meet, he sees scratches on her palms. Nothing has changed at all between her childhood and now, so he is interested in why she developed such a habit. The main character says that in childhood and realizes that a memory has resurfaced that she would not like to remember. But there was a day when she was locked in the attic for the first time, and the nanny asked what was wrong with the mistress, and maybe she could ease her soul by telling the nanny about what was bothering her. She also told the lady that she shouldn't cry like that because her eyes were swollen and something had to be done about it. Helga replied that tomorrow she had to go with her mother to the ceremony of granting the title of Crown Prince, but she didn't want to go there. Every time they come back from such events, Mom becomes simply terrifying, and she always only disappoints her so she doesn't want to go anywhere. The nanny told the lady that nothing bad would happen tomorrow, so she shouldn't worry. But at that very moment, someone else burst into the room and wondered if the girl was still crying. It turned out to be her mother, and the woman claimed that if the girl had decided to continue arguing, then she too had no other choice. Then she looked at the maids, and they immediately grabbed the baby. Helga Scraper told her mother that she was wrong. But the woman claimed that if the girl had realized her guilt, she would not have cried there endlessly. She also asked who she thought the Uhtred family were, after which the lady was thrown into the attic. The woman claimed that until she stopped crying, she shouldn't even hope to get out of there. When the evening came, the lady realized that she was very scared, and at that moment she realized one thing. This is because tears cannot solve anything, and a little while later the maid came to the mistress, and she also said that her little girl was probably very scared. The nanny told the girl that she would not cry anymore, and let her tell her mother that she was not crying and wanted to go to the appointment. A little while later, the woman claimed that now the girl at least a little resembled a member of the Uhtred family. She also claimed that this is the ceremony of granting the title of Crown Prince, and there will be talk of marriage with His Highness. So today is a very important day. The girl knows what awaits her in case of the slightest mistake. A little while later, other aristocrats came to greet them. One of them said that the young lady was so serious, and maybe that was why she became one of the candidates for the role of the crown prince's wife. The Duchess claimed that they were flattering them, and at the same moment the woman told Helga to go to the crown prince. The girl agreed in response, and when she approached the boy, he turned to her with a smile, after which the lady greeted His Highness the Crown Prince. The guy took her hand and invited the lady to come to him. He also asked if she had already eaten, to which the girl replied that she had. The brunette asked about sweets, since he had candies. But the main character replied that she had already tasted dessert, so it was not worth it. Then the guy asked why she was crying. Helga looked around in shock, hoping that no one had heard, and insisted that she had not cried. But her interlocutor said that this was a lie, after which he suggested going out into the garden for a short while. When they found themselves in the garden, the guy once again turned to the lady and insisted that he had told her to address him as you. Helga replied that it was good, after which her interlocutor asked why she was crying. The girl claimed that she really didn't cry because in fact she didn't shed a single tear. Rohan said that if she clenched her fists that hard it would hurt, but the lady only pushed his hand away and then hid her palms behind her back. The brunette asked why every time they met he saw scratches on her palms and whether something had happened to her again. The guy claimed that she was constantly crying and scratching her palms, so it couldn't go on like this. If she continued to shed her precious tears, he could leave her there. The main character asked if he was going somewhere, to which the guy replied that yes, it was a place she had never heard of. Helga asked why he was going there and whether he could stay, but the guy replied no. At that moment, Rohan replied in an extremely indifferent tone that he was heading to the battlefield. The guy was so calm that it was impossible to believe that the child standing in front of her actually said the phrase battlefield. The girl at that very moment asked if that was really the case, to which the guy replied that yes, but right now he was not going anywhere. So let her not start looking at him with such a worried look. The prince claimed that he would definitely return, so Helga should not forget him. The girl asked what if she forgot, because he would not be able to return or too much time would pass. But the brunette suggested that she not say that, because if she continued in the same spirit, something would break in his head. That day, she was locked in the attic for the first time, and Rohan was the first to notice the scratches on her hands that no one had noticed before. The lady grits her teeth and wonders why he, having appeared at such an important moment, continues to instill doubt in her about the decision she made. The guy claims that when he was a child and dated a lady, he asked her several times if she had eaten. That's why the lady even once asked why he continued to ask about this every time they met. At that moment, seeing the gloomy expression on her face, he had no idea what he should say to her. But now he knows that when a dark shadow falls on her face, instead of asking about food intake, he should ask about something else. At that moment, the guy asks Helga to tell him what he can do for her. Just one word and he is ready to do anything. The main character understands that she cannot hesitate because she must not forget about her goal. It will all end once she escapes her mother's shadow, and she doesn't have time to try to rely on Rohan's feelings. At the same moment, the girl replies that nothing, and tells His Highness that if he is really ready to do anything for her, then he should do nothing. Rohan a little sadly replies that if that is her will, then so be it, after which he kisses the lady's hand. And he says that if she changes her mind, she can turn to him for help at any time because she is a smart girl, so of course she understands what he means. Helga understands that she does not need to hesitate because feelings have always brought her nothing but difficulties. Therefore, one cannot count on any help from Rohan. After that day, Rohan never mentioned her true identity, and she never heard any talk about it. Then came the tense days when they were both busy with their own affairs, and the lady finally buried Rohan deep in her heart. When a girl knocks on one of the rooms, the person sitting in it tells the lady to come in. The main character comes in and claims that she was told that the lady called her. The woman replies that yes, she heard that the test launch of flying ships was successful. Helga replies that everything is exactly like that, so she asks if her mother would mind if she left the residence for a short time. As Helga, the woman agrees and says that Heliana has not yet perfected the role of Helga, so they will do as she says. The main character thinks how ridiculous this situation is because she has to ask permission to go somewhere under her own name. The Duchess wonders why the girl stood up so wickedly, and the main character wonders if she still believes in the feasibility of her idea. And also, does she think that Heliana can replace Helga? The girl does not understand how she can be so self-confident, after which she says that nothing special and she will be back soon. A little while later, the main character gets out of the carriage. At that moment, a lady with green hair runs up to her, and Helga wonders if Sherry came out to meet her. Her interlocutor asks if the lady really came to the research center because of a mistake, and she had to travel a long way, so she can't put into words how happy she is that the test run has been successfully completed. As expected, Lady Helga is doing great. The main character says that this is all entirely Sherry's merit because she was the one who came up with the idea of launching airships and brought it to life, and she simply believed in her words. I invested money. So why is she great if she was only able to achieve success thanks to Sherry? The girl immediately smiles and claims that she is glad to hear such words from Lady Helga, so she will try even harder to conduct the tests. The main character understands that the airship that will be built in the future will be named after the explorer Sherry. Among them, one tourist airship was given to her. The Utrit family, that one of the first airships will bear the name Helga. Well, the girl also thinks what will happen if after her mother, without breaking the engagement, gives her in the role of Heliana in marriage to the crown prince. And will the real Helga disappear from this world forever? The girl understands that history will change completely. A mother and father who lack the courage to rebel against the Imperial family will have no choice but to send Heliana down the aisle. The ideal Helga that everyone wanted to see in front of them all this time will disappear forever. Helga, one, will never come into this world, and at the moment when the Utrit family could be at the peak of their glory, she will destroy everything and disappear. Since they broke it, the same fate will befall them, but at that moment, who turns to Lady Helga? The girl claims that she definitely wants to show her something, and the main game is not interested in what exactly. Her interlocutor says that soon the lady will see everything for herself, and she thinks that what she sees will also please her. The main character understands that her interlocutor always has such a happy expression on her face, so she does not understand what makes her life so joyful. The lady wonders if she will be able to smile in the same way later after leaving the ducal family. The girl understands that everyone will fall on their faces, and regretting will finally feel how much everyone misses her presence. Just the thought of it is enough to make you laugh sweetly, and the lady wants that day to come as soon as possible. After all, then she too will be able to smile so dazzlingly. A little while later, the main character looks at something. The lady with green hair claims that she considers this part to be the heart of the airship. The main character says that she thinks the lady's words are quite logical because she gives the airship energy with which it can soar into the sky. Her interlocutor claims that she was able to make this heart only thanks to Lady Helga. If it weren't for her huge investment, she would never have been able to bring her idea to life, so she thought that she couldn't do without a new name. Then the main character looks at the inscription and sees that it is Helga's heart. The lady smiles after that, and she understands that even though her mother is trying to take her name away from her, the fact is that there is a person who is trying to perpetuate it. Really makes her happy. Helga thanks Sherry and wonders if it was her idea. The girl replies that they made this decision together. Each of those present there contributed to the process of creating this mechanism with Lady Helga in mind, which is why this name was chosen. Like Lady Helga, so warm and sensitive, this detail will become the heart of a wonderful airship. The main character understands that the girl calls her warm and sensitive. Sherry is the first person who says such words to her, after which the girl mentally thanks her and wonders how the personal investor's income has increased over all this time. The girl replies that yes, and very much so, but the tourism business will remain only under her management. The main character asks when the next test flight will take place, to which her interlocutor replies that they were going to hold it on the day of Letty's younger sister's engagement. A shower of flowers will fall from the airship, and since her younger sister's engagement is taking place, the girl thinks that the lady will also be in a happy mood. Helga replies that it is her younger sister who will be getting married and not her, so she has no reason to be happy. Sherry says that she meant that if something good happens in the younger sister's life, then Lady Helga will be happy about it too, but the girl asks if she is wrong. The main character understands that she doesn't even know 3. Her case can hardly be called a simple sisterly relationship, so will it be normal to be happy in such a situation? If we imagine that the matter concerns ordinary people, Then the girl immediately replies that, of course, she will also be very happy to see flowers falling from the sky. It's so romantic. The girl also asks where they plan to go during the test flight, and her interlocutor replies that they have not yet decided on the location, but this time they plan to be in the sky for 5 hours. Helga at this time comes up with something and asks if she can ask Sherry for one favor, to which she agrees. Then a few more days flew by. It was morning 3 days before the engagement ceremony, and the girl realized that since the day she visited the research center, she had never been given permission to leave the residence. Mother has completely forbidden her to go anywhere and assigned her to Heliana. Perhaps because of the approaching engagement day, she is experiencing some anxiety. The fact that she tied her hands and feet and forced her to stay near Heliana was enough to come to this conclusion. At that moment, the lady's sister turns to her and asks if she really likes these flowers. The girl also holds out some flowers and says that these are her favorite summer flowers, and they suit Miss Helga very well, so the girl asks if she thinks so. The main character thinks who knew that she raised in the best conditions of the Utrecht family. Will become a lapdog, following on the heels of a child who grew up without any education. Helga is wondering what to do with this girl she got into and is picking dirty wildflowers without even thinking about her feelings. Well, now the main character says that as a lady and said they are beautiful. Heliana at the same moment smiles and says that she knew the lady would like these flowers. The girl understands that unlike her, this girl's behavior boils down to endless running back and forth. Throwing away her umbrella, she proudly stretches out her hands stained with dirt. This girl has absolutely nothing in common with the noble demeanor. That's why she's not like her at all. Helga doesn't try to prove who's right and who's wrong. She just knows that Heliana will never be able to fully take her place. The girl at the same time turns to Miss Helga and says that she is truly charming. Helga replies that the same can be said about Heliana, but her interlocutor at the same moment replies that everything is not. So you see, she doesn't care about the lady as much as she cares about the moon. The main character understands that this girl sees before her the image that she has worked hard on for decades. The lady also turns to her mother in her thoughts and says that even her daughter knows her place. So why is she still unable to comprehend reality? Helga says that Heliana will soon make her debut in high society, and her interlocutor says that the lady's engagement will soon take place and her mother told her about it. Helga replies that yes, a month after the engagement, the wedding ceremony will take place. The girl immediately says that she would like to personally make a bouquet for Miss Helga, and therefore in secret from her mother began to study books on floral design. Heliana also wonders if she can do this for the lady. The main character wonders if she is talking about her wedding. After which she smiles and replies that of course she is sure that the bouquet will become a role model in high society. She also asks the lady to try hard, to which she agrees. A little while later, the Duchess looks at one of the sheets. The woman wonders why he is asking for a meeting now since there are only 3 days left before the engagement ceremony. Her daughter is not yet sufficiently trained in all respects, so she cannot introduce her to high society and wonders why the hell Heliana's manners do not get better. The woman claims that it is really annoying and then orders the maid to call Helga and also to convey that an important meeting is scheduled for tomorrow, so let her come to her room immediately. A little while later, the main character enters her mother's room and says that she was told about some important meeting. The woman replies that yes, the crown prince wants to see his bride and she should watch her language. Helga tells her mother that yes, he asks her not to worry about it, after which she keeps telling him that she will leave her. But the woman says that recently the girl has been behaving extremely quietly and does not show that she does not like the current situation at all, after which the Duchess becomes interested in whether she has finally realized who she really is. The main character replies that she doesn't even know what to say and is interested in how the situation looks in her mother's eyes. As if everyone knows their place perfectly well, the woman asks what she is talking about and the lady replies that she means the child who is her own daughter. Doesn't she really not know who she really is? And does mother really believe that she can become the head of the ducal family? The woman at that very moment slams her hand on the table and screams, "How can a girl say such things?" The main character replies that unlike her, she fortunately knows her place, and she understands perfectly well what she can do and what she is capable of. If her mother has nothing more to say to her, she will go to her room. The woman at the same moment wonders how a low-born person like her dares to say something like that. Without even knowing how limited her level of capabilities is, the main character wonders if this is really the only thing a woman can say to her daughter whom she raised for 16 years. After which she even says that yes, she will take her instructions into account and also pass on her words to that child about protecting your level of capabilities. A little while later, the main character realizes that as she thought the ideal time to escape is on the day of the engagement. Rohan all day long, so it will be difficult for her mother to assign someone to look after her. And at the moment when he brings her back to the residence after the engagement ceremony, the girl will finally be able to be completely alone. There is not much time left to wait, so she needs to be patient a little longer. Now she will untruly say goodbye to the Utrecht family. A little while later, someone informs Lady Heliana that they are there. The main character looks out the window and thinks that this place is one of the 5 most romantic in the capital. This is the most luxurious restaurant in the empire, accepting only 1 order per day. If a noble lady is invited there, it immediately becomes clear that they are going to propose marriage. After which the main character thinks about it and understands that if Rohan is going to do something like this, then she does not want it to happen. A little while later, the girl gets out of the carriage and her interlocutor asks. Also, she chewed while they were not seeing each other. Helga asks His Highness if everything is okay with him, to which the guy replies that yes and asks if she has already had breakfast. The girl replies that of course and asks His Highness not to worry. The man says that it is such a relief and suggests going inside. He also says that today is the day when fresh flowers are delivered there and says that they were not told that they were lucky, so he hopes that only good things will happen to them today. The main character thanks His Highness, but when he kneels down, the girl asks what happened, and the guy claims that at the moment of her 20th birthday and becoming an adult, he was going to make her a beautiful proposal of marriage. But he couldn't even imagine that they would get engaged so soon. After which he kisses the lady's hand and says to Helga that it's not just that he wants to marry her, after which he asks for the opportunity to protect her. The main character wants to answer something, but the guy takes out a box and claims that he has something for her. When he opens the box with the ring, he claims that it is an unofficial engagement ring. He will put that ring on her finger on the day of the engagement ceremony, so let the girl consider this ring as his promise to protect her. The girl then apologizes to Rohan and wants to say something else, but the guy suggests that she not apologize. After all, he doesn't do this to make the girl feel burdened with something. Let her simply consider it as evidence of his promise. After that, Rohan did not try to get any answer out of her, and the girl simply ate the most delicious dishes and returned to the residence. Apart from the presentation of the ring and the promise of a wedding, their meeting was no different from the previous ones. And the next day after the engagement, she will finally fly away to a very distant place on her wings. The girl looking at the dress understands that the wedding dress sent by Rohan was delivered. The lady touches the fabric of this dress and says that it is still a dress sent by the Imperial family. It is on another level. The maid claims that it is made of the finest fabric of the highest quality by order of His Highness the Crown Prince. The main character understands that, as expected, Rohan knows her preferences very well. A light ivory dress is much better than a new mediocre white dress. Quiet and elegant pearls instead of luxurious diamond jewelry, and those shoes match it. The girl wonders if those shoes were originally made with such small heels, and the maid replies that if she hadn't answered, they were made to His Highness's special order. A little while ago, the main character felt pain in her legs, and now she understands that high-heeled shoes cause her discomfort. Rohan really knows absolutely everything about her. The maid at this time asks if she likes her mistress. After all, shoes with such low heels are not worn at an engagement ceremony, so they tried to dissuade His Highness, but he stood firm. Helga replies that of all the components of the outfit, the shoes came to her liking the most, and the girl replies that she will convey to His Highness that Lady Heliana really liked the shoes, after which she congratulates Lady Heliana and says that the engagement will take place tomorrow, so she most likely needs to make a lot of preparations, so she will leave her. A little while later, the main character looks at her face, but at that moment, who else enters the room? The girl asks her mother what happened that she deigned to come into her room. The woman then approaches the lady and then pushes her, after which she takes the lady by the hand. The main character is a little surprised and asks her mother what she is doing. The woman understands that a big problem has arisen because on the day of the engagement, Helga and Heliana were supposed to finally change places. Heliana's progress is extremely insignificant, so she needs Helga to play her role a little more after the engagement ceremony. But the woman thinks how she should say this, after which the Duchess tells the girl to enjoy tomorrow. And upon returning, she would like to talk to her a little, to which the girl answers her mother that it is good. The woman then says that okay, and let the girl not stay up late and also go to bed because they will see each other tomorrow. When she leaves, the main character bites her cube or sits on the bed. The lady remembers how her mother took her hand and understands that the woman is acting as if nothing had happened. So she doesn't understand why she reacted like that. In fact, it was the first time that her mother came into her room, and the fact that she held her hand for such a long time, all this happened in one time. Utrecht family rumored to hold the Empire's gold mine. Now the glory of this family will fade, and if it goes away, then the wealth will not accumulate, and the existing one will go to feed the rats. And among them, the most important rat will of course be her father, but then the girl realizes that this man is not worthy of being called a father, he is just that person. The lady realizes that she has very few memories of the moments when he appeared in the mansion. That's why she's really surprised by the fact that she's the only illegitimate child. There have already been 4 commercial bankruptcies because of that man, and there is no doubt that his last business will also go down sooner or later. He will destroy the Duchy of Utrecht to its foundations, exactly as great as the loss from her departure will be. To be honest, deep down the lady knew perfectly well that the mother was also a victim who had lost her child. But even despite this, she still took under her wing the servant's daughter, whom she could easily throw out into the street. Every time she had to face a heartbreaking injustice, the girl repeated this fact like a spell, and she said that her mother had not abandoned her. The lady said this every time, and when she was about to leave this house, she realized something. After all, she loved her mother very much, so she understands that no matter how much pain she had to endure during all this time, she wishes that she would be in much more pain, and at the end of her journey, she asks that her mother be happy. A little while later, someone informs His Highness that Lady Heliana has arrived. The guy replies that it's fine and tells the maid to tell her that he'll be down soon. A little while later, he looks out the window and says, "What a blessing it is that the weather outside is so wonderful. Maybe something good will happen at the ceremony today, although these two are already getting out of the carriage." When they move on, the main character realizes that it is finally today. After this day, Helga will cease to exist in this place forever. After which flower petals fall from the flying ship, and the prince turns to Heliana and asks if she expected something like this. The girl replies that without a doubt this is a gift prepared by Lady Helga. Well, the guys reply that it is clear. He likes it because it gives the feeling that the heavens themselves are blessing them. He extends his hand to the lady, and the girl extends hers in return. Then they move on, and people in the crowd ask Lady Heliana to wave to them. At this time, the main character looks at her family and thinks that it is funny. Inside the stage, everyone is smiling and sending congratulations to the couple walking down the aisle. The only ones standing in the crowd with stony faces are the bride's parents. After which, the guy puts the ring on the lady's hand and says that he thought about this moment several times, but reality is true. However, when he falls silent, the main character thinks about what he wanted to say next. The guy just kisses her and then looks at the lady with a smile on his face. Helga understands that when he smiles like that, it makes her think about a lot. A short time later, the ceremony ends and the lady heads back to the carriage. The prince then suggests going home, or the main character understands the state for the last time too. A little while later, they are already heading somewhere, and Helga wonders what the glory he said earlier meant, because he didn't finish his sentence. Her interlocutor replies that this truly makes the heart flutter, and says that the lady on the contrary looks extremely indifferent. He also apologizes to her, and states that he thinks the lady will scold him, so he apologizes in advance. Helga asks why, and the guy kisses the lady on the forehead, after which he says that a moment ago she behaved too indifferently. So this annoyed him. He also asks the lady to give him a small indulgence, and then he turns around and wishes her sweet dreams. The main gamer, not surprised, asks what it is. And what was he talking about anyway? When the guy gets into the carriage, the main character says goodbye to him and thanks him for everything. The lady begins to cry and remembers how her nanny said that the first thing to be forgotten is the voice. But the girl understands that this is not her case because her memories are still fresh, as if everything happened only yesterday. A little while ago, the nanny told the lady that she should always be happy. And I was wondering if she could promise. Now the main character answers that yes, and she promises. To be honest, after the funeral, the nanny never visited her grave, because she swore not to come until she could stand in front of her with her head held high. The moment she feels happy, the first thing she will do is go to the nanny and tell her with a smile about everything that happened to her. And then she will have to say that she kept her promise on this. Now she wishes the nanny to rest peacefully. The girl understands that she should stop because she doesn't have time to torment herself with guilt. The lady understands that since the servants have already left, she needs to approach the tightly closed side door and knock on it 5 times, after which the maid opens the door and says that it is the mistress after all. She didn't show up at the appointed time, so she was afraid that she was caught red-handed. After which the maid says that everything the mistress talked about is there and the main characters thank her. The girl understands that it is a magic suitcase that she bought on Utopia. The interior space is under an expansion spell, so everything she needs fits in it. The main character then hands Sienna the money, but her interlocutor says that the lady did what she had to do with her pants. In this case, the girl claims that this is what should be done on her part. The maid then tells the mistress to be sure to be happy. And the main character says that her interlocutor should also be happy, after which she leaves him. The lady realizes that she has finally turned her back on the ducal residence that she has always looked down on. The lady will never forgive the Utrecht family and will never return back. The prince is heading in a carriage at this time. He understands that he has a feeling as if he touched the flame, after which everyone understands that tomorrow. But at the same moment he thinks that tomorrow is probably too early, and in that case the day after tomorrow he will invite Helga to dinner. Although he should call her Heliana, but if they can be together then what does it even matter? A little while later the prince returns to the palace and the servants immediately ask to accept their congratulations, after which they once again congratulate him on his engagement, but at the same moment someone informs His Highness that he has an urgent message for him. After all, Lady Helga has disappeared. The main character Vat is heading somewhere and understands that Salarium is called the second capital of the empire. The lady smells the sea and understands that, unlike the capital, Salarius faces the sea, so she definitely wanted to visit it. Although this city is the second largest in the empire, it is still located quite far from the capital. To get there from the main city of the empire, you will have to ride on horseback for at least a month and a half. If the girl hadn't learned the teleportation spell, she wouldn't have been there in the blink of an eye. This is a distant place where one cannot fail to see and feel the influence of the Duchy of Utrecht. So the girl understands that now she finally feels that she is alive, and she liked even more that even at such a late hour, small establishments still serve customers. The lady knocks on one of them and wonders what is going on in a place where her foot has never set foot. When the girl comes inside, the owner of the eatery says that they have a guest at such a late hour. She also greets the lady and asks if she can help with anything. The main characters do not answer that she needs clothes in which she can comfortably move around the city. The woman asks if this is really so and realizes that although the lady is wearing an expensive dress, she looks like a runaway noblewoman without a penny in her pocket. And besides, she is still too young. The main character understands that the woman is probably hesitating because of her appearance. In a city where trade is developed, the criterion for evaluating a person is not the noble status or the fame of the family, but only money, and this is another reason why the girl chose Salarius to escape. If money is needed, she has more than enough of it. After which the main character puts a bag on the table, and when the woman looks inside, she sees gold coins. Helga thinks that this woman was so surprised because of such a small thing, but her entire fortune was allocated by the Utrecht family, which owns the bank. It was converted into cash so that she can now live without worrying about money at all. Now the main character says that now a woman must understand what she wants. Her interlocutor immediately replies that yes, and asks the lady to follow her. This design is currently very popular, and women are asking if they would like to try it on once. At this time, the prince sits in his office and thinks about why no one has been able to find Helga yet. Platinum blonde hair and bright red eyes are the symbol of the Utrecht family and are not something ordinary. And besides, the girl could not use a magical artifact that changes hair color because this is the prerogative of only the Imperial family. But the guy doesn't understand why not a single person has appeared yet who has seen Helga with their own eyes. The guy even tracked the entire route of the airship that he took that day. Although he found out about everything starting with Helga's visit, you research Center Petya repair her engagement. Until the moment when closer to the evening on the day of the engagement, the airship took off again, changing its planned route to the northern direction. Well, he couldn't find a trace of Helga anywhere, so he doesn't even know where the girl disappeared to. Rohan asks if the girl intends to drive him crazy. Helga always tried to hide her difficult situation. But it was clear how the family treated her, so every time he saw the Duchess, he thought, how stupid she is. She is always so cold and rude towards Helga, she doesn't even try to see all her values. He is not like the rest of Helga's family put together, and the guy thought he could save her. It was meant that as soon as the engagement ceremony took place, he would be able to rescue Helga from the ducal house of Utrecht. But the girl disappeared without a trace, and he can't shake the feeling of heaviness in his soul and the feeling that his heart is ready to break into pieces. After which he realizes that he seems to be going crazy, while the guy desperately searched for her. The terrible thought that Helga, never and under no circumstances will he return to the residence of Utrecht, filled his mind. The Duke and Duchess are sitting in the office at this time and realize that Helga has disappeared. The man asks what his wife is going to do now because they can't continue to keep the Crown Prince's messenger at the gate forever. The woman understands that if they do confirm that Helga is missing, then without a doubt this will be immediately announced to the entire country and she will be found immediately. But in this case there will be difficulties in passing the name Helga to her daughter. One way or another, the situation is not easy. After which the Duchess sighs but understands that there is no need to get on her nerves. Isn't it just the daughter of a servant who has disappeared now, who lived there and borrowed the family name for a short time? Wipe it off. Finally, she will be able to completely erase all traces of this irritating maid. After which the woman says that it is clear, and it means that the child decided to abandon her own happiness and leave. She was offered a place, so how dare she take such a step? The only problem is the engagement to members of the Imperial family. Without it, the woman will have to send her daughter down the aisle. But the Crown Prince is a cold-blooded battle demon, so she can't give her daughter into the hands of such a person. Her poor daughter who had been robbed of everything that should have been her birthright, and now she was going to reclaim the name and position that had been taken from her. But in the end, Helga ruined everything, but the girl always did only what she said. There is exactly 1 month left until the wedding ceremony, and marriage with a cruel prince is a reality. The woman cannot send Heliana to such a dangerous place, and for her sake she must find Helga within 1 month. The Duchess thinks that this is true, and how long can a child who has never lived outside the ducal residence last? She will wait exactly 2 weeks, and until then the Imperial family must remain in the dark. After which the woman writes to the Crown Prince that both young ladies are under the care of the Utrecht family, and none of them have disappeared. Heliana is a little ill, so she needs to stay on strict bed rest, and she offers her deepest apologies for the fact that such an incident occurred immediately after the engagement ceremony. The woman understands that, first of all, she needs to sort out the commercial affairs that Helga abandoned, after which she turns to the maid and tells her to immediately bring all the documents from Helga's office. The maid agrees, after which the woman tells her to also give the letter to the Crown Prince's envoy, after which the maid takes this letter and goes to carry out the order. The woman understands that when she returns, the girl will have to crawl at her feet begging for forgiveness. She should use this opportunity to finally knock all the nonsense out of her. A little while later, someone else approaches Mother, and it turns out to be Heliana. The woman tells the girl to come in, and the girl wonders where Miss Helga went. She had never lived outside the estate and was chosen as a luxurious flower that grew inside the greenhouse. After which, the girl keeps asking his mother if she thinks that someone has kidnapped Miss Helga. The woman then looks at her daughter a little coldly and then turns to the maids. And he tells everyone to come out, to which they agree and leave. The Duchess then turns to Heliana and tells her to go to her. The girl immediately runs into her mother's arms, usually responding that she is considering all possibilities and is persistently looking for Helga. But then the Duchess thinks who would kidnap such an impudent girl. She also says that Helga will be back soon, and for Helga's honor they should not draw too much attention to what happened, otherwise she will find herself in an awkward position. She also asks if Heliana understands that she should act as usual. If the girl continues to diligently carry out the work assigned to her in the same spirit, then Helga will return very soon. The woman understands that if the maid's daughter could do it, then her daughter can do the same. She just had weak motivation and all she had to do was patch up this mess. The Duchess says that when Helga returns, she will only be glad that the girl was not burdened with the threat of responsibility. After which the girl replies that she could become a burden for Miss Helga. And she says she will try her best. A little while later, someone approaches His Highness and claims that a letter has arrived from the Duchess. When the guy reads it, he sees that the Duchess wrote that none of the young ice girls disappeared. He also wonders if this is the only excuse she could come up with, after which the prince squeezes the letter and says that he thinks it is not worth trying to cover the sky with your palm. A little while later, the main character is in a house near the sea and is sleeping carefree. The girl understands that it is somehow quiet there, and only the sound of the sea outside the window can be heard. There is no voice of the Duchess, who always tried to sting her with some harsh word, not the disgusting voices of noble gentlemen scattering flattery to attract the attention of the ducal family. She absolutely loves this absolute silence where there is no sound, and now the lady is slowly starting to feel happy. A little while later, the Duchess cries out where the girl disappeared to. She thought that the girl decided to clear her head a little and would return soon, but were her assumptions wrong? The woman organized secret searches for Helga, but all to no avail. People who visited the ducal residence to discuss business issues sought a meeting with Helga alone, although the woman sent them away citing Helga's poor health. But if the break in the withdrawal of commercial cases drags on, then everyone will guess that there is some kind of catch there. She must buy herself some time until Heliana finishes her training. First of all, we need to sort out the issues regarding flying ships. Without a doubt, this is a very profitable business, after which the woman rings the bell, and when the maid comes in, then the Duchess says that she needs to go to the Flying Ship Research Center, so let her adjust her schedule. The woman understands that for the sake of the ducal family, which her daughter will lead in the future, she must finish Helga's work and hand it over to Heliana. Everything worked out for the best possible reason, because using this opportunity, she will finally erase all traces of that child in the estate. One of the maids at this time says that she could not even imagine that everything would go so far, and the other one replies that although if she were in her place, she would have left too. She was cold only towards Lady Helga, and apparently those rumors are indeed true. That Lady Helga is not the Duchess's biological daughter. At the same moment, someone else behind them makes a sound, and the maids, frightened, immediately run away. At this time, the woman knocks on the door of the Duchess's office and addresses her. The Duchess tells her to come in and then asks how today's lesson went, and also whether Heliana is gradually gaining speed in mastering the material, but the professor turns to the Duchess, and he says that no matter how you look at it, Lady Heliana is completely incapable of understanding anything in the areas of politics, diplomacy, and business. The woman replies in surprise that this can't be, and didn't she herself promise to make her an impeccable lady within a specified period of time? But her interlocutor tells her ladyship that no matter how much she thinks about it, it seems to her that it is a little difficult. Lady Heliana learns the material too slowly, and in such a short time it is impossible to make her into a noble lady who will be in no way inferior to Lady Helga. It would be best to find Lady Helga as soon as possible, but the Duchess at that very moment slams her hand on the table and cries out that enough is enough. She also wonders if the professor is now trying to say that her daughter is not educated enough. She also asks how a woman can even boldly say that the true gene pool of Utrecht can have any kind of flaw. The woman understands that this girl dares to take her money but cannot teach Heliana properly. Her daughter simply cannot be worse than the rat of some low-born servant. After which she says that the woman loved by hook or by crook should be brought within the established time frame, because that child is the only lady who will become the head of the Utrecht family. The professor immediately replies that it will be done, and the woman understands that everything is simple, and the reason is that the teacher is terribly incompetent. Her daughter Heliana will become a lady that everyone will look down on, and she will turn into such an outstanding lady that no one will even remember Helga, who decided to leave the residence herself. At this moment, the prince hits the table and asks why they still haven't been able to find her, after which the guy sighs and realizes that the people told him not to do anything. He also wonders if it was because she was already planning to leave him alone and go away, and he, like the last idiot, couldn't even understand that. A little while ago, the Empress said that it was clear, and that meant the guy wanted to hold the engagement ceremony as soon as possible, to which he replied that as soon as possible. But then the woman said that she and Miss Heliana knew almost nothing about each other, so it would be better to first gradually find out what kind of person his fiancé is. And besides, she needs to learn a lot in the ducal residence. Although she is Helga's twin sister, taking the place of the crown prince's wife is not a matter for those who poured out. But the guy replied that after all, she was a member of the Utrit family, that he thought she had already mastered the necessary basics of etiquette, and that in this regard, they had nothing to worry about. So let the Empress just trust him and schedule the engagement ceremony. On the earliest possible date, the guy thought that from now on, the lady would not have to overcome difficulties alone because he would protect her. But the girl apparently dreamed of something completely different, and he was slowly becoming more and more afraid. The guy is horrified by the thought that something could happen to her who has lived her entire life within the confines of the ducal residence. He is often visited by bad thoughts, and he will even understand that the lady left him and that she rejected his feelings. She only asks to convey the message that she is all right. At this time, the main character remembers the prince. But then she realizes that this is so stupid and wonders what she is thinking. Is it possible to run into a person there who would call her by name? The girl also sits down on the bench, and he pays attention to his hands, after which he realizes that if you think about it, since Rohan returned, the number of times she scratched her hands has decreased dramatically and she no longer needs gloves. The girl says that she is grateful to Rohan for everything, after which she throws away these gloves and also wishes that he would be happy too. When the girl looks at the coins, she understands that she thinks this will be enough, and it's good that she transferred the money to the Utrit bank in advance. Once a fingerprint is registered, only that person will be able to receive their money. Moreover, this bank is a local bank controlled by the magic of the first head of the Utrit family. Therefore, as long as the huge source of magical power that the head of the family left in the capital bank remains, she can come at any time and use the reserves stored there. So the girl took with her all the necessary sum of money and now thinks that it's time to slowly start acting. A little while later, the lady enters one of the establishments, and when the employee there sees a visitor, then he immediately gets up and asks if the lady really didn't make a mistake and came exactly there. The girl asks if this isn't Salamio's store, she needs to buy something, so she looks in there. But her interlocutor replies that people stopped going there a long time ago, so he thinks that the lady will not be able to find what she is looking for in this store. The main character replies that what she is going to buy is not a product from the store's assortment. The worker asks what she is talking about the lady. They answer that she wants to buy the Salamio store itself. The guy in shock asks what she is talking about and does she really want to buy Salamio, which even if it closes its doors forever right now, will not surprise anyone. Helga replies that yes, and asks if they can sit down with him and discuss the details of the deal, after which the guy pours tea for the lady and sits down opposite her, when the main character drinks tea. Then her interlocutor wonders if the lady really wants to buy a store that is on the verge of ruin. He also says that if the lady wants to get some benefit from buying this store, then she should better give up for years on this street. His store has already gained a certain fame. Salamio, where everything is expensive and you can buy nothing. The main character replies that it's okay because she knows about it. After which her interlocutor sighs and says that his name is Cheyenne Collians. Since the lady came to buy his store, he thinks they should introduce themselves to each other. Helga then claims that her name is Heliana. The guy just sighs and says that if looking at the appearance of the store, Heliana thought that it could be purchased cheaply, then her train of thought is wrong. The store contains only expensive goods, so it is impossible to talk about underpricing. At market price, it would cost her more than the surrounding houses in good condition, and if he were in charge on the spot, he would have been better off acquiring one of those knowledges. Honestly, he would like to sell this store right now in his soul, which brings him nothing but headaches. And he is also burning with the desire to quickly get rid of it, but the store is too expensive, so no one is trying to buy it, and what if the doors were suddenly closed for a while? It is possible that at this very moment buyers will come, and so he has to sit there with his pants down without being able to do anything else. He is now sincerely trying to dissuade her from making such a fatal mistake. The main character realizes that she already has enough information about this place, after which she hands him a bag of money. And when the guy opens it, he is delighted. The girl says that she thinks that the money is enough to buy Solemio. Her interlocutor immediately replies that, of course, if the lady is ready to pay such a tidy sum, then he can immediately pack his things and leave there. Well, the girl says that there is one condition in return, after which she hands over several more bags of money, and the guy wonders why she got more bags. The lady then starts using magic, and the young man bends down. Well, when he looks around again, he wonders if magic was used and how the lady did it. The girl replies that now it seems he can finally breathe normally. She also turns to Cheyenne and tells him that he should work there with her for a bit. The guy asks in surprise what job she is talking about. A little while later, the girl looks at the contract and realizes that she got Solemio. And Shiona was on top of that, so it was a pretty good deal. It was the first time the girl took something because she wanted it. At this time, the guy asks Miss Heliana what he needs to do now. The girl thinks for a bit, and then says that she should also order a new sign, but now she needs to start with cleaning. After which, the guy does just that and says that his grandfather was right when he said that for big money you have to pay the corresponding price. Having sold this store and finally becoming a free man, he wanted to live modestly by farming, after which he apologizes to his dream and claims that he was blinded by money and gave up on it. The main character understands that before leaving the ducal residence, she thought about different cities, and one of the reasons why the choice fell on Salarius is Solemio, because she knows the true value of this store better than anyone else. Many people have no idea that Solemio, which is about to go bankrupt, is actually a store whose founder is a direct descendant of the Seijin Duke's family. How did she manage to find out who was endowed with more powerful magical power among the descendants of Seijin Solemio? Seijin, and right in front of her is his shop now. If you infuse magic into all the ancient magical artifacts inside, their value will increase to several 100 million gold coins. Having learned about this completely by accident, the girl sent her man to check out the situation, and she was so delighted to hear that the store was still open. After all, this place is filled with traces of people who possessed magical power like the ocean, and for the first time what she wanted was at her complete disposal. Solemio's shop belongs to her, after which the girl says that it's great and wonders if Shion knows about this fact, that he is a direct descendant of Seijin. When she sees the guy sigh, she understands that he probably doesn't know. What is happening is going according to plan, because in the capital everyone is chasing after airships that are nothing special. In this old but incredibly valuable antique shop, she will start all over again. At this time, the prince once again remembers Helga and understands that he was sure that he knew her well, but in the end, it turned out that he knew absolutely nothing about her. It is obvious that the girl and the Utrecht family have a secret that he does not know about. He needs to find out why Helga was going to give everything she had achieved in her entire life to her suddenly appearing younger sister, after which the man tells the butler to look at the records of the Utrecht family for the last 12 years, to which he agrees. The prince thinks that the appearance of Heliana that Helga demonstrated was always naive and bright. If the real Heliana is like this, then perhaps he will be able to extract some information from her. After which the guy tells the butler to pass the message on to the Duke so that the Duchess doesn't find out about it. After all, tomorrow at the Imperial Palace, he wants to meet his bride in person. A little while later, the Duke reads the letter and asks if they really want to see Heliana at the Imperial Palace tomorrow. The envoy replies that His Highness the Crown Prince personally sent the invitation, therefore the envoy will not leave until he receives an affirmative answer. The man immediately screams that because of Helga's damn disappearance, nothing is really working out. He also screams for the servants to go away, and understands that he should be grateful for the mistake he made while drunk. And you will forever pay for the fact that she was there, you are the Utrecht family. Well then, the man understands that everything turned out the other way around as best as possible, because wouldn't the fragile and tender Heliana be more useful to the Utrecht family than Helga? After which, the man wonders why he continued to think in such a complex direction all this time. From the very beginning, the role of the crown prince's wife was more suitable for Heliana. This place of honor must be occupied by a member of the Eutrotus family, and the main hero of the empire must be of the Eutrotus family. After which he shouts for everyone to immediately enter the room and send the answer to the Imperial palace. And they also immediately called Heliana to him because he needed to share some good news with her. A little while later, the girl enters her father's room and says that she was told that he called her. The man replies that yes, and judging by the girl's face, he can assume that she did not sleep well last night. The Duke also understands that this is because she has too soft a character, and then tells Heliana to sit down. When the girl sits down, the man says that he actually called her because he needs to tell her something about Helga. The girl wonders if this is really true and screams if they found Miss Helga. She also asks if she is okay and if she is hurt. Her interlocutor replies that now her destiny is not so important because let the girl not waste her emotions on such insignificant things as worries about Helga. The most important thing now is the invitation of the crown prince sent to her. He wants to meet his fiancée tomorrow, or rather Heliana. The girl then asks him in shock what he is talking about, and he thinks what he's saying now. It turns out that searching for Miss Helga, who left the Duke's residence, is a mere trifle. The man says that it is time to focus on the wedding with a member of the Imperial family. As the girl herself knows very well, the so-called nobles must live for the good of their family, so let Heliana take the place of the crown prince's wife. If she only enters the Imperial family, then there will be no problems. The girl at this time thinks how Miss Helga even wanted to be in such a place. The girl disappeared, but no one was alarmed by this. Neither her father nor mother nor other people scurrying around the castle. They are all like dolls who have lost all human emotions. The girl thinks why she answered at that moment, that she was happy. She also wonders what was going on in Miss Helga's soul when she gave the answer to her question. Her sister is so unhappy. The Duke at this time says that he already knows that Heliana is afraid of the crown prince, but people also live in the Imperial palace, and she will enter the ruling family instead of Helga. The girl says that he can wait until Miss Helga is found, and he can simply tell the Imperial family the whole truth and also ask them for a deferment. But her interlocutor says that the Imperial family will not wait long, and without a doubt, before Helga returns, they will have already managed to find a new candidate for the role of the Crown Prince's wife. The girl wonders if they really want to say that the Crown Prince's wife might not be Miss Helga but someone else. But Miss Helga said that she loved the Crown Prince and said that she would give up everything she had in the name of her love. The lady is sure that Miss Helga will return, and if, as her father told her, His Highness will marry someone else, then upon returning back, Miss Helga will be very sad, after which the girl understands that she will protect the place belonging to Miss Helga at all costs, and the girl agrees. She claims that she will go to meet the Crown Prince tomorrow, and adds in her thoughts that she will not allow anyone to take him away. A little while later, the Duchess asks what the maid said and let her repeat it again. The maid is about to say something, but the woman screams again for them to quickly repeat the words they just said. One of them, in a shaking voice, replies that the Duke said that Lady Heliana will go to the Imperial Palace tomorrow. The woman says that this means he is going to seat Heliana in the place of the Crown Prince's wife. She also curses this Duke and screams that he dares to send her daughter to the very hell. She thinks how dare he do such a thing, and what does he think he is? Is he really going to take her daughter away from her? At that very moment, the lady bursts into her husband's room and screams, "Has he really gone mad?" The Duke wonders what she is doing now, and his interlocutor asks how he could force Heliana to go to the Imperial Palace. The child just returned home, so let him at least leave her daughter alone now. The man wonders if this child should not also fulfill his noble duty. They will have to send the girl to the Imperial Palace to preserve the engagement. The woman asks whether he himself has been fulfilling this noble duty properly, but the man tells his dear to watch her language. The Duchess immediately screams that he should watch his language. The man then claims that a letter came from the Crown Prince in which he insists on meeting his bride and asks if they have any other choice in the current situation. His interlocutor replies that it is possible to say that Heliana is ill, announce that she has gone to a resort to improve her health, and assure him that she will pay him a visit upon her return. The man says that the engagement ceremony took place in the presence of all the representatives of high society, but how long, in her opinion, will the Imperial family put up with such excuses? After which the woman says, "Okay, and then we can just return Helga. It is enough to simply find that offspring and the maids, and in that case all the problems will be solved." The woman takes paper and pen in her hands and understands that Helga is the one who must go down the aisle. She is her only daughter. When the Duchess continues writing the letter, the man screams at her in shock. But the woman only puts a seal on this letter and tells him to immediately order their knights to find Helga. He just needs to put his man under the riot police leader, and it doesn't matter at all who exactly it will be. She will find Helga before the wedding ceremony, so let him just wait. And if he tries to sell the Imperial palace to his daughter again, she won't let him get away with it. The Duke sighs and tells the woman to do as she pleases. The main thing is that the engagement is not broken, and what methods she will use is not so important to him. However, until Helga returns, she will have to visit the Imperial palace from time to time. The woman thinks that the knights of the duchy are professionals in their field, so the desired result is only a matter of time, and you just need to be patient until Helga is returned back. Soon her daughter will be able to become the full owner of the Utrecht family. A little while later, the woman turns to Heliana and she responds. The woman then smiles and says that only tomorrow and only once will the lady need to visit the Imperial palace. She will never become the Crown Prince's wife instead of Helga. No matter what anyone says, she is destined to become the mistress of the Utrecht family. When Helga returns, she will take her place as the Crown Prince's wife as planned. Then let the lady consider tomorrow's trip to the Imperial palace as a kind of exercise in practicing her court etiquette skills. The girl then wonders what her mother will do if Miss Helga is never found. And the woman tells the girl not to worry, because she gave the corresponding order to the knights of their family, and their knights never made a single mistake. So soon they will find Helga too. The woman understands that if you look only at appearance, it is impossible to distinguish whether it is her daughter or Helga. She is sure that the same thing happened during their first meeting, and therefore now everything will go like clockwork. After all, the Imperial family is thirsty not for Helga, but for the Utrecht family. The woman then says that the lady's mother, just like her, misses Helga very much. But her daughter understands that this is a lie, and they do not like Miss Helga at all. But the girl now says that she will do everything as her mother says. The woman understands that for a start, she has managed to overcome a serious critical moment, and from now on, events will proceed according to plan. A little while later, Heliana is in the Imperial palace, but realizes that Miss Helga will soon return back, so now she must do well in her assigned role. If her actions will help Miss Helga, then she will certainly do everything in her power. At that very moment, the butler knocks on the door and the prince tells the man behind the door to come in. Heliana understands that everything is fine because she practiced endlessly yesterday, so there will be no problems. When she looks at the prince, she realizes that compared to the rumors that are coming out, he looks even more frightening. They say he killed a dozen enemy warriors with one swing of his sword, and the girl wonders how Miss Helga can love such a terrible man. If she were in her place, she would never have done such a thing, but now people understand that she can handle it because she just needs to hold out for a little while. At the same moment, the lady greets His Highness, but her hands are shaking. The lady, looking at his expression, understands that it has not changed at all, and therefore she has not been exposed. Heliana thinks that this is great, and at this rate she will be able to calmly spend the time allotted for the meeting with him. The girl asks if His Highness has chewed well since that day, but when she is about to say something else, the prince asks who she is. The girl wonders what His Highness means because she is Heliana from the Utrecht family. The man replies that his Heliana is a girl who is very scrupulous about palace ethics, and that she always started the conversation only after he responded to her greeting. Heliana understands that she was caught in a lie, and she said only a few words, but he was already able to grasp the whole essence of the situation. The girl wonders if her night practices that she did for Miss Helga are still not enough, and she can't ruin Miss Helga's happiness in this way, so she has to cope at all costs. And the prince at this time asks where Heliana, with whom he became engaged, is now, and the girl replies that she is there and right in front of him, The guy then gets up and says that he thinks the lady's joke went on a bit too long. If his question was difficult to understand, he would ask in a lighter form, after which he would approach the lady and, taking her by the chin, lift her face towards himself. And also tells Heliana to look into his eyes and answer where his Helga is. The girl claims that she knows nothing, but her interlocutor says that it is not right to be so unbelieving, and to begin with, let her share everything she knows from the results. Heliana replies that she really doesn't know where her sister went because she disappeared unexpectedly, so she's scared too. The man says that the Duke's daughter doesn't know anything either, and it turns out that Helga really has disappeared. The girl at that moment sat down on the floor out of fear, and the man said that if she just disappeared without saying a word, does she really think he'll sit back and do nothing? Heliana looks at the prince and thinks what he's going to do. No matter what happens, she must protect Miss Helga from both the Utrecht family and this man, and in general from everything that made Miss Helga leave, because she will certainly help her. At the same moment, someone else turns to Lady Heliana and tells her to listen carefully. At the moment, the ducal family accepts the fact of Helga's disappearance, and the girl says that this cannot be seen. Her mother clearly said so. But her interlocutor claims that the Duchess will never make the first move to begin searching for Helga. Shouldn't the girl next to her understand this better than anyone else? Heliana asks what they should do in that case. The man replies that first they should keep the engagement, because then the ducal couple will be forced to send her to the jungle-like Imperial family. The Duchess, who dotes on her, will not be satisfied with such a situation. She will try at all costs to find Helga in order to throw her into his arms instead of her daughter. The girl understands that unlike the inhabitants of the ducal residence, this man who stands in front of her is trembling with fear because of the disappearance of Miss Helga, and he is sincerely worried about her fate now, just like she is. After which the girl starts crying and says that the Duke's residence is strange. Mother and father are also behaving strangely, and in general they all look like emotionless dolls. The guy then says that the lady sheds tears so easily, but Helga, even when she wanted to cry, couldn't allow herself to do so. Continuing to restrain her emotions in every possible way, she had a habit of secretly splashing them out where there was not a soul, after which he whispers and asks what the Duchess was thinking when she decided to give Helga's place to someone who has nothing in common except for their external resemblance. The lady then asks to find Miss Helga so that she can return to her rightful place. The prince replies that for the first time the lady said something that he liked, after which he tells him everything is good and he will definitely find Helga. The thought that she is now alone in the harsh world makes him feel like his head is about to explode, so they should cooperate. They can't allow Helga to return to the current ducal residence, and then they need to create an environment in the ducal residence where the girl will feel comfortable upon her return. The main character is in the store at this time and understands that it turns out that it is enough to simply invest a little magic, after which the lady does so and the box opens and a ballerina begins to spin inside it. The guy wonders if this really works, and the girl replies that it couldn't be any other way, and that from now on, she will fill all magical artifacts with magic and start selling them. The lady understands that although this artifact cannot be called unusual and outstanding, it is her first success. The old antique met with magic and began to shine with new colors. After that, the lady closes the box and claims that she will not sell it. Her interlocutor asks what she intends to do with it then, and the girl replies that she thinks it would be great to listen to the melody coming from it before going to bed. Things that belong exclusively to her, not to the Utrecht family, but to Helga, and the girl understands that this is something that only she owns. The guy says that at such moments the lady really looks like her peer, but the main character asks what he just said. The young man immediately screams that nothing special, after which he turns to Miss Helena again and asks if he can find out why she decided to come there. He realizes that his question is somewhat tactless. Well, they'll have to work side by side in the future, so he wants to prevent any possibility of failure. And the guy also wonders if he should call her a member of the nobility, or if it's more correct to call her a high-ranking noblewoman. In the current situation, it seems a little strange to him that the lady decided to set up a small shop in a place so far from the center of the province. The main character asks him curiously if she is a political fugitive and if she has committed only something illegal. Vanek smiles at the same moment and says that the lady is always so straightforward. The girl replies that it is neither one nor the other because she simply ran away from home. But then she says that it is not an escape, but the beginning of a life independent from her family. The guy, shocked, asks if it's really true that recently noble people run away from home in this way and start living independently from their families. The main character replies that more importantly, she has one request to make of Cheyenne. She also asks what about him and whether his name has been tarnished by the stigma of a criminal or has been exposed in some illegal activity. The young man wonders if it's not obvious from him, and the main character says that in that case, could he lend her his name? The guy is surprised by this, and the girl claims that she's not going to use him for anything bad. Cheyenne wonders why he had to sign that contract. The girl asks how about Togo starting to act seriously from now on. A short time later, the commander of the Order of Imperial Knights states that they have arrived and the lady can exit the carriage. The girl wonders why His Highness the Crown Prince went with her to the residence and even accompanied by the commander of the Order of Imperial Knights. He even has a sword with him, so the girl wonders if something terrible will happen, after which the guy suggests going inside. When they enter, the maids are very nervous and the Duchess immediately runs out to greet the guest. The guy then asks for forgiveness for such an unexpected visit. He just needs to talk about something with the Duchess. The Knight Commander then just sighs, and the woman is shocked and wonders why His Highness is there. She also wonders what her daughter did in the Imperial Palace. The guy's time takes out his sword and tells the Duchess that it turns out that while he was in the dark, many interesting events happened. The woman at this time thinks about what exactly he is talking about, after which the guy talks about Heliana, from whom he got engaged, and then he even asks where his dear Helga is now. Of course he understands that the Crown Prince knew that Heliana was at the engagement ceremony instead of Helga. Did he really guess everything from the very beginning? But the woman doesn't understand how. The guy at this time asks if she really thought that he didn't know anything, after which he puts the sword to the Duchess's neck and tells her to answer him. Why did Helga leave? The man says that since the Duchess is the one who introduced Helga to him as Heliana and the one who sent Helga to the engagement, then she definitely knows where the girl went. The woman understands that he knew from the very beginning that they had changed places, and now she needs to send the Crown Prince home and buy some time. So, the Duchess asks what he is saying because it is Heliana who is engaged to His Highness. But at the same moment the guy says, "What a hype, a curse." And hasn't it occurred to the woman that he is not asking about that at all? After Togo is about to say something else, the guy claims that if she answers properly, he will remove the accusations of deceiving the Imperial family from her. But Togo's option of immediately punishing her for what she did also suits him quite well. The woman understands that if at this rate she is accused of deceiving the Imperial family, the duchy will come to an end, and her child will not lose his place as head of the family. Because of some low-born servant who had an affair with her husband and abandoned her offspring, she zealously defended Uhtred. It would be better to tell the Crown Prince the truth and save his great family from falling, after which the woman cries out to His Highness that they also do not know where Helga is. The guy asks if she doesn't know, and if even the Duchess, who is Helga's parent, doesn't know why she left. Then who knows? He also says that the Duchess wasn't particularly interested in Helga's life before either. So as he thought he should have put her into eternal sleep that day, the guy at that very moment swings his ball, but at that very moment someone stops him. It turns out it's the commander of the knights. He tells His Highness to calm down. Rohan tells him to get out of the way. But his interlocutor tells His Highness to try to settle the problem through conversation and not the sword, and doesn't he still need the Duchess to find Lady Helga? And the guy at that very moment stops and says that, as promised, he will turn a blind eye to her deception of a member of the Imperial family. However, it would be nice if the Uhtred family agreed to a few conditions, after which the brunette hands his weapon to the knight's commander. And he doesn't say that. Even though the woman knows this perfectly well, he will still repeat it, because he is a very picky person. He expects that in the future the woman will share with him news that will please him. A little while later, they are already sitting at the table, and the guy turns to the Duchess, after which he puts a seal on the document and says that the contract contains two important conditions. Firstly, according to it, Uhtred will make every effort to help find Helga, and secondly, Helga's place will never be given to anyone. The woman asks what he means, And the guy replies that the commercial affairs that Helga was engaged in, and her reputation in high society, as well as everything that she achieved with her own efforts, should remain with her. He tells her to get the idea out of her head that she would dare to give this place to someone who can't even take care of herself, let alone replace Helga. To begin with, he will postpone the wedding ceremony with Lady Heliana, using the protracted training process as an excuse, and it will be officially announced that Helga has left for the south for a while to improve her health. The Utrecht family's banking records. This contract will be valid until Helga returns, and if the Duchess will faithfully fulfill the terms of the contract, then he will turn a blind eye to everything that she did earlier. But if she suddenly violates even one of the listed points, the Imperial family will force her to pay in full. For the misdeed she committed, the woman then clenches her teeth and the guy tells her to quickly put her seal, and the Duchess does so. A little while later, the prince is about to return to the Imperial palace, but at that very moment, someone else screams at him to wait. The guy tells the lady that it seems they have already discussed everything, but the girl claims that she also wants to be useful to Miss Helga. Rohan asks if this is really so and is interested in how the Duke's wife, who doesn't even know the basics of etiquette, who has never left her parents' embrace, and who only knows how to cry her eyes out, can help. When she is really able to provide at least some help, then let her repeat her request again. The girl at the same moment grabs the sword of the Knight Commander and claims that she does not know about the other items, but everyone says that she has the ability to fencing, so she asks to be allowed to become part of the knightly order, and she no longer wants to be a stupid lady who relies on her older sister for everything. In the ducal residence that was alien to her, Miss Helga was the only ray of light for her, and now it was her turn. Rohan claims that he liked the words about the lady wanting to stop being stupid. He then turns to the commander of the knights and tells him to give Lady Heliana an application to join the Order of the Imperial Knights. The guy asks His Highness what this means. The man replies that by looking at her stance, he can assume that she was not lying when she spoke about her talents in fencing. If the girl officially becomes a knight, she will be able to receive the appropriate certificate, and then she will have the opportunity to personally go in search of Helga. The girl then thanks His Highness, and he understands that if Lady Heliana ends up in his hands, then Duchess Utrecht will not be able to act, so he has no reason to reject her request. A little while later, the Duchess is sitting and reading papers. At the same moment, someone announces that Lady Helena has come to see the lady. The woman tells her to come in, and when the girl enters the room, then he tells his mother that she needs to ask her something. The woman replies that it's good because she was just about to call the girl, so she dropped by at just the right time. She heard that after the visit of the Crown Prince, the girl began to devote even less time to her studies, and she thinks that it is time for her to stop fooling around, because the girl must take her will into a fist and again. But at the same moment, the girl replies that she is no longer going to attend etiquette classes. The woman wonders if she is not going to learn etiquette anymore, since it was she who happened to her in the future. The girl immediately replies that she does not want either the position of head of the Utrecht family or the position of wife of the Crown Prince. The woman screams in shock, asking what kind of nonsense the girl is talking about now, and the lady replies that until now, she believed that if she obeyed her mother in everything, she would be able to live a happy life with Miss Helga. But Miss Helga left the Duke's residence, and the reason for that is her mother, who tried to change their lives. From now on, she does not want to be a stupid Duke's daughter who sits quietly and waits in her room for any news. This is an application to join the Order of the Imperial Knights, and it has already been approved. The woman turns to her daughter in shock and asks what this means. The girl replies that she will now search for Miss Helga on her own. After which, the girl throws off her cloak and says that after becoming an Imperial Knight, she will leave the ducal residence. The Duchess screams that she never gave her permission and asks what kind of stupid trick she just did. The girl tells her mother that she should ask permission not from her, but from her mother, who raised her from her first breath. The woman screams that she is her mother, and not the dancing portly maid, but her interlocutor tells the Duchess not to dare insult her mother, after which she turns around and says that she conveyed her intentions to the lady and now dares to leave her. The main character is working in a store at this time, and when she pours her magic into another object, a bird jumps out of it and says that it is 2 o'clock. The guy is shocked by this and says that this is the bird that says what time it is. The girl understands that at first he was so wary, but now he has apparently gotten used to it. At this time, the young man brings another object and asks what it is, to which the lady replies, "The States are a magic lantern." Cheyenne wonders if it turns out that it will shine even without oil, after which the girl directs her magic at it, and the lantern begins to glow. Helga says that the flame will not burn forever because it needs to be regularly recharged with magic. The young man asks whether it is a disposable item and whether it is worth calling a high-quality product. Helga replies that at first there will be people interested in such products, but if you have to continue to regularly charge the magic artifacts, then there will be a need to find a wizard. So gradually, each of these things will lose its value. So they need to find something that can become a new source of magical power. The guy asks if she is talking about the source, and the main character replies that yes, there are no real wizards except her now, and she cannot constantly recharge all these magical artifacts with the help of her magic. The young man asks what the lady will do then, and the girl replies that this is why she would need a magic stone that can hold mana on its own. Cheyenne asks in shock what it is, and the lady notes that initially magic stones could only be used by wizards, but only if they were properly processed. Then even ordinary people will be able to freely use magical artifacts with the help of magic stones. Then the value of all available artifacts will increase many times over, and the young man says that as expected, Miss Heliana is amazing. The girl understands that now her life has taken on brighter colors than before, because from now on there are no longer those people who domineered over her, and those days when she was in danger are far behind. It's worth erasing memories of a past life from your memory bit by bit, if you think about it. That's at that moment. However, at that very moment, the lady stops and realizes that now that she has gone so far, why bother with it at all? At the same time, in the main capital branch of the Utrecht Bank, the prince sighs heavily and wonders why the hell the Utrecht family did this to Helga. The guy wonders whether this situation arose because there was a side of it that he knew nothing about. He also does not understand what secret the girl is hiding, and if it was he who forced the girl who had barely turned 16 to leave the capital. Then let herself be protected. The guy clenches his fists, but at the same moment someone speaks to His Highness. That he brought the crystal sphere of Helga mentioned by him. You bank crystal sphere only. The owner can see all the records and they only have access to information about replenishment of the account and withdrawal of funds. He then asks to be allowed to warn the gentleman in advance that the detailed location information he is seeking will not be available, after which he suggests to proceed, and when he points the pendant at the crystal ball, it begins to glow. At the same time, information appears in the air that on July 30th, 1032, Helga Utrecht withdrew funds. On August 12th, 1032, she withdrew funds again, and the same thing happened on August 20th. The man asks in surprise what this means, and the prince at this time relaxes and understands that fortunately everything seems to be in perfect order with Helga, after which the guy says that there should always be money in this account and let the Duke put all the funds intended for Helga into it. He will personally check how the man carried out his order and let him transfer the money from his account to Helga's account as written there. The Duke, in shock, asks if it is really necessary to transfer such a huge sum, and the prince coldly replies that he should not even think of making a mistake in a single figure, to which his interlocutor agrees. The guy understands that at the moment it is enough for him to know that the girl is somewhere in this world and safe and sound. He is sure that they will definitely meet again, and he will definitely arrange everything this way. A little while later, the main character comes to the bank, but thinks that it is quite strange because she spent a lot of money, so there is definitely a tiny amount left in the account. But someone continues to regularly top up her account, and the girl wonders if it is a duchess or a duke. Helga wonders why all the entries end with a 9, but at the same moment Lettet remembers that July 29th, 1032 is the date of the engagement with Rohan. She was planning a wedding ceremony on August 29th, 1032. The girl at this time thinks about Rohan and wonders why he really behaves like a complete idiot. The lady almost cries, and when she sees another number, she understands that this is the date of their first meeting at the celebration on the occasion of his birthday. Rohan remembers her and continues to wait, after which the girl understands that she just needs to forget about it. The lady also says that she is very sorry, but she will never go back. A little while later, the girl walks down the street and tells Rohan that she will gladly spend the money. The girl at that very moment enters one of the establishments and then wishes her a good day. The people sitting there immediately notice how beautiful the lady is, and the girl asks if she can ask the waiter to escort her to a free table. At this time, the man asks for forgiveness and asks whether she prefers a seat by the window or in the center of the room. The girl replies that she is in the center of the room, and the man says that he will do as she pleases. One of the people at this time is wondering if the girl doesn't look like an aristocrat who came there from the capital to improve her health, and in any case, one thing is clear, that she is from a very noble family. After which, one of them suggests the other to look at the dress, which is barely 9, and it completely corresponds to the capital's trends that they discussed in the salon a few days ago. And in that case, maybe she is the one they think about. The main character at this time looks at the menu and then says to bring her raspberry mousse, after which the lady sees the sweet drink that she tried with Rohan last time and asks to bring her a strawberry yogurt smoothie, to which the waiter agrees. But then the main character notices that there is a gossip newspaper on the table and understands that such gossip is well suited for disputing information. The girl looking at one of the pages understands that this article is a little useful, but when she looks at one of the pictures, she recognizes her house. It says that due to Helga's sudden departure, the ducal family is facing a serious crisis. Everyone is watching closely how well the duchy will handle the introduction of the commercial business that Helga was involved in. The main character understands that her father will never be able to save her business no matter how much effort he puts into it. The family has now officially announced that Helga is in the southern estate due to deteriorating health. The main burning after this smiles and understands that apparently one time they decided to leave Helga's place free, but when the lady turns over in the country of days, understands what is written there, that Helena joined the knightly order and in the end she looks like a duchess, so it is not surprising that she has a talent for fencing. In this situation, the duchess is not one of those who would easily give such consent, and the girl thinks that this may be the case. What if she doesn't come back like that? Heliana will be the one who enters the Imperial palace, so in order to smooth out the existing shortcomings and allow the girl to strengthen her position, they decided to make her the Night Empress. It turns out that Rohan and Heliana are really going to get married. At the same moment, someone else turns to the lady and says that her order is ready, and in response, the girl thanks the waiter. When a lady eats this dessert, she understands that it is too sweet, but as I told Rohan after it, her mood really improves. The lady understands that she should not care about the affairs of Rohan and Heliana, about which she knows nothing, and what is more important is that among such a huge crowd of people, there is not a single person who would recognize her. This means that the Duke does not try to find her who disappeared in the middle of the night, and the girl says that they are really great parents. Those two really do not have a single drop of warm feelings for her, and the girl thinks that everything is really so. So what did she expect from people who officially announced that she was simply sick? Even if they decide to start searching for her, they will search the outskirts of the capital of Gilianas. But they would never think of sending a search party to such distant Salaria. The lady realizes that she definitely feels much more comfortable in her actions and thoughts since she came to this place. But if you think about it now, she should have met Dillot at a book lovers meeting. The girl also wonders if everything is okay with her friend. At this time, one of the aristocrats claims that they say Lady Helga left the residence due to illness. Someone else asks if it wasn't because her family deprived her of her fiancé, and without a doubt such a noble nature was seriously wounded mentally. Another aristocrat says that this could well be the case because if the Lady Helga will never return, it turns out that Lady Heliana will become the heir of the family. Someone else says that most likely, but she has no shame or conscience at all. Not only did she steal her sister's fiancé, and she even dared to come there. At this time, Dillot is observed by the girl and understands that she saw the reaction of Lady Heliana. She can say with certainty that there is some kind of problem in the family, after which the girl thinks what happened to Helga. No matter how many letters she sent to the Utrecht residents, they never answered, because the girl had never done that before. The lady wonders if Heliana really caused any trouble. She doesn't want to jump to conclusions, but she's sure of one thing. Ever since this girl appeared, the atmosphere has become strange, and it might be worth secretly going to the south. Well, then the lady is wondering what she is thinking about, because she will not be able to leave the capital. At the moment, she can only find out how things are going with Helga through Heliana. But if she starts asking directly, she will become an object of criticism, and it will still be better to send her someone else instead of yourself. Moderately mature and not too talkative. After which the woman approaches Miss Gropus and asks if she can chat with her for a bit. To which the girl with a smile on her face replies that, yes, Rosette Gropus is a lady from the Viscounty Gropus, manager of a small trading company. If the company's income falls even a little, then the daughter of the junta who has nothing to offer will not be able to even come close to being on the same level as it. Dillot says that there has been no news from the lady for a long time, and frankly speaking, she has a very shy nature, so it is difficult for her to start a conversation. Her interlocutor says that the same thing happens to her, and she understands Lady Dillot perfectly, and also thanks her for being the first to speak to her. At this time, the woman says that after the lady's words, it was as if a weight had been lifted from her soul, and she felt such lightness. At this time, Rosette draws attention to the lady's gloves. Her interlocutor says that the lady has noticed well, because these are lace gloves that became popular thanks to Lady Helga. If next time she has the opportunity to meet again, the girl asks if she can give her similar gloves. Her interlocutor says that the lady is not obliged to do this, but Dillot says that she would like to give her a small gift as a sign of their friendly relations. The lady with red hair thanks her and states that she believes that Lady Helga, who set such a fashion trend, is truly an outstanding person. The woman replies that the lady is right, because Helga is an outstanding person, but lately she has been hearing rumors that she is very ill, so she can't even eat normally because she is worried about her. Rosette says that this is why the lady has lost so much weight, and her interlocutor claims that she is really very worried about what exactly hurts her and whether she is getting better. She is in terrible confusion because there are no messages from the girl, but at the same time she does not get along with Lady Heliana very well. At the same time, Rosette asks if the lady does not mind if she tries to find out something about Helga instead of her, because in truth she is friends with Lady Heliana. Dillot at this time understands that everything worked, and her interlocutor says that if she asks Lady Heliana carefully, then perhaps she will give her an answer. Dillot immediately thanks Lady Rosette, and she says that she will go right now and ask Lady Heliana about everything. The woman understands that now all that remains is to wait for Heliana to tell about her sister after the Viscount's daughter leaves. The woman stops smiling and thinks about how sick Helga is, that there is not a single message from her. And if she had warned about her illness in advance, she would not have worked herself up so much. Next time, she'll have to pay back the whole debt with interest. If the problem really lies with that girl, she'll never forgive her. At this time, Rosette turns to Lady Heliana and says that she heard that Lady Helga is very ill, to which the girl replies that yes, and that she went to the south to improve her health. The lady with red hair at this time asks if she can find out what exactly Lady Helga is sick with and whether she is really going to stay at the southern resort any longer. Then what will happen to the enterprises that Lady Helga managed? If suddenly some trouble happens to her, then Lady Heliana will have to lead the Utrecht family, after which the girl replies that Lady Helga will definitely come back and be next to her. One of the autocrats asks if the lady is okay, Heliana, and the other one says that Miss Rosette just behaved tactlessly. The girl doesn't even know what to answer and wants to say that Lady Dillot just... Well, when she turns to the lady, she sees something running away. At that moment, someone stops the lady and asks if she is okay. Dillot is thinking why she responded to the question in such a way, because the girl could have simply answered that everything was fine with Helga. She also wonders if Helga is really seriously ill, but in that case, why does Heliana continue to attend social events? The girl promised to share with her if any difficulties arise, but she does not understand why Helga is now keeping silent. She also tells the girl not to make a duck out of her who has no idea that her friend is going through hard times. At this moment, unable to contact Helga, the girl wonders what she can do at all. Besides the Utrecht family, there is another person who knows Helga well. She needs to ask him. The question will be addressed to the crown prince to whom the girl was engaged. A little while later, Dillot wonders if she did the right thing by sending farewell letters to the crown prince's palace for an audience. When she looks at one of the papers, the maid turns to the mistress and says that now she needs to eat well and get enough sleep. Another one replies that this is true because lately the weather outside has been wonderful and her mood will certainly improve after a short walk. The girl replies that it's fine and suggests going for a short walk today. One of the maids asks if this is true and if the mistress has finally stopped moping. The lady replies that yes, she needs to gather her will into a fist and understands that if she finally gives in now, she might lose it forever. Helga. The girl did everything in her power, and now the only way to find out anything about her friend is to meet the crown prince. Since we are talking about the crown prince, there is a high probability that he has some information about her. A little while later, someone approaches His Highness and says that there have been changes in the bank account. Although the amount is small, it seems that Miss Helga carried out an operation to withdraw funds. The guy understands that since the girl withdrew the money, it means she understood the significance of the amount sent. He has not forgotten her and continues to wait, after which the prince understands that the girl is making a coward out of him. He had never been afraid to stand on the battlefield with a naked sword, but now he trembled with fear at the thought that he would never be able to see her. Therefore he asks the girl to be fine until he finds her. So when the butler tells His Highness that a request for an audience has arrived from Lady Cadrienne, the man understands that he and Helga were friends, after which he says okay and let the guy tell her that he will be waiting for her at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Since they were inseparable, the girl might know something. A little while later, the lady arrives at the palace and tells His Highness that it seems that some kind of trouble has happened in the Utrecht family. The man asks why she thinks so. The lady replies that she knows Helga very well, and if something happened to her she would first of all tell me about it, and well, there is still no answer from her. His Highness then turns to Lady Cadrienne and asks if she is sure that she is in fact Helga's friend. The girl answers His Highness that he himself knows this very well, and even all the inhabitants of the empire are well aware of their friendly relations with her. Her interlocutor replies that he cannot say with such certainty. After all, from his point of view, it looks as if the girl knows absolutely nothing about Helga. The Utrecht family must have refused her request to visit the residence. The girl then asks how he knows about this, and the prince replies that it is Lady Heliana who has been appearing frequently in social circles lately. Most likely not even a word was said about his sister. And if the girl's words about knowing Helga well are true, then let her answer him one question. Why did Helga disappear? The girl in shock asks him what he's talking about, and the guy replies that in the literal sense of the word, the girl just took and disappeared without a trace. At this time, his interlocutor asks if he wants to say that the girl ran away from home and how she could do this without telling her a word. But in that case, she says that the members of the Utrecht family should not sit silently in their residence. The guy asks if she is talking about the members of the duchy, and those people will never look for the girl. Dillot asks what he means, and the guy replies that in love, the Duchess Utrecht has no equal. She is the one who tries with all her might to switch Helga with Helena, so that she has no reason to look for Helga. The lady screams in shock. Did she really want to switch them? And what kind of nonsense is he talking about? The girl says that it turns out that Helga disappeared because of Heliana, who doesn't know her place, and all because the girl wanted to take her place. The man asks if she really thinks that the girl disappeared only because of that child, and let Lady Cadrienne look the truth in the eye. Doesn't she notice a few strange nuances if the ducal cheetah really considers the girl a member of her family? Why didn't they raise the whole city on its ears because of her illness? After which Dillot asks if this means that Helga still lived in such a family. She also says what kind of mental torment the girl experienced while being in such a suffocating place. And the lady really didn't know anything about Helga. Now she also has no confidence that she really was her friend. And if she had noticed Helga's pain, she wouldn't have disappeared like that without saying a word. The prince then sighs and says that he shouldn't give in to emotions and should think carefully whether there is at least some trifle connected with Helga. After all, now any clue can help with the search, and the guy is interested in whether she noticed anything strange the last time she met her. The girl replies that the last time they saw each other was at her birthday party, and the lady behaved as usual. The guy understands that, as expected, Lady Cadrienne doesn't know anything either. But at that very moment the lady cries out for a present for her birthday, and Helga gives her the magic wand of the Cadrian family. The guy asks if this is really true, and the lady replies that the magic wand of the Cadrian family contains information about the people who touched it. If the girl held the Cadrian family's wizard's staff in her hands, they would be able to find her. Cheyenne is sitting at the table, and the main character claims that now the store looks quite presentable. The guy says that, as expected, nothing can compare with the power of money, and it is still hard to believe that the shabby Solemio store could change so much. The main character asks if this is unimaginable, and now they will be able to safely resume trading. The main character picks up some object, and when she opens it, music starts playing. Cheyenne notices the lady's shoes and thinks that he wonders why she always wears them. A little while later, the main character tries to put the box on one of the shelves. Cheyenne turns to the lady. The girl asks, "What is it?" And the guy says that he thought about how she feels about hiring a maid. The young man says that it is not enough to have a snack every time with what he cooks or to eat in a cafe, and also when he finishes his work shift. The lady is left completely alone, so it still seems to him that it would be better to hire a maid who would help her with the housework. The main character understands that there is logic in Cheyenne's words, because she will not be able to buy food for herself all the time at home, and she often has to go hungry in the mornings. Hiring a cook is too much of a luxury for such a small space, but she can easily afford to have just one maid. The lady claims that she just needs a person who would help her with cleaning, and the guy shared a great idea with her, after which the girl tells him to get up. Cheyenne asks what happened, and the girl says that he himself suggested hiring a maid. The guy is surprised and wonders why she is looking at him like that. To which the lady replies that he is the director of this store, and when the young man says that this is true, the main character says that since the store is registered in his name, it means that he should hire a maid. Cheyenne wonders what the lady will do if, in this situation, he takes her to the last thread and runs away. Well, the main character starts using magic and wonders if he thinks that she will miss him who put a magical signature, and the representatives of the nobility who are greedy for her money. They can't wait for her forgiveness, after which the girl asks if he understands everything, to which the guy replies that his main goal in life is to live as long as possible in this world. Therefore, he will be very obedient. The main character only smiles in response to this, after which she strokes the guy on the head and says that this is a great idea. If he really listens to her in everything, then later she will treat him to something tasty. The young man is a little embarrassed by this, after which he wonders if the lady really considers him some kind of sand. And by the way, his name is incredibly valuable, so let the lady buy something very expensive. The main game does not care whether she should buy him some goodies in the new cafe that opened nearby. The young man then apologizes but asks if she knows what the sky-high prices are, to which the lady replies that she doesn't care what the prices are. In any case, he will have to pay as he has to, even if he does not bother to pay his fee. He can imagine what will be waiting for him. The young man at that moment screams that he flies there and back like a bullet, after which he tells Miss Heliana to listen because he will really be back very quickly, so let her definitely buy him something tasty. The main character only smiles in response to this, and a little while later, she finds herself in her room. The girl understands that the maid should come at 6 o'clock and the store opens at 10, so she still has plenty of time. Helga does not expect to succeed right away, and there was no publicity, and Solemio has long been forgotten by people. She still has a very long and difficult path to go, but the lady is confident that she can cope with everything just as she has done so far. But at that very moment, the girl notices someone at the door and understands that, judging by the suitcase in the girl's hands, one can assume that this is the same maid who was supposed to come today. The lady puts on a cape and thinks that the girl has come, and apparently she is very diligent, after which the girl goes down the stairs, and when she opens the door, she greets the girl and is also going to say who she is in this place. But at that very moment, her interlocutor takes off her hood and asks if this is really Lady Helga. The main character is shocked and asks if it is really Sienna. The girl thinks how the maid knew that she was there because she left without telling anyone where she was going. Sienna immediately turns to the lady in surprise, and the main character asks how she ended up there and whether she really followed her. The maid replies that no, and without the mistress she had no reason to stay in the residence, so she quit. Her aunt, who lives in Salaria, promised to find her a job, so she came there. The main character says that the girl is not at all the maid who was hired for her job, to which her interlocutor replies that the girl's mother fell ill, so she urgently left for her hometown. And she came to her work instead of her sienna hands over some paper and claims that there is a letter of recommendation attached to it. The main character realizes that this is indeed a real letter of recommendation. At this point, her interlocutor begins to cry, and he says that the lady cannot even imagine how happy she is to meet her again, and as she had already been told earlier, the lady helped her a lot and she started working in the residence just to repay her for the kindness shown. Although she was happy to serve her, the lady herself was not happy in that place, so she helped her escape from the duchy. And I also wanted the lady to be as far away as possible and to live a happy life. After her escape, nothing kept her in the residence anymore, so she left there too. And she thought that one day she would definitely be able to hear at least some news about the mistress if she started working as a maid here and there. The lady cannot even imagine what she felt when she saw her in front of her. The main character then turns to Sienna and suggests that she enter the house first. Her interlocutor asks if the lady is really hiring her, to which Helga replies that she is, and asks if she is going to enter. The maid immediately answers the lady that she is already on her way, after which she also thanks the mistress and says that she will work very hard. The main character answers that, okay, looking at the lady's eyes, understands what it means that there is another person who sheds tears for her sienna, then says that she completely relies on the lady. A little while later, the maid is already bringing dishes to the table and looks at Cheyenne indifferently. But when he hands over a plate of food to his mistress, he tells her with a smile on her face to try this soup. The main character replies that yes, and she would be happy to try it, after which she does so. When the girl tries this soup, she understands that this is what should be expected from Sienna's golden hands, because she hasn't eaten such a delicious thing for so long. At this time, the maid says that the lady has really lost a lot of weight, and apparently has not been watching her diet at all. She also says that the man paid no attention to her eating at all. To which the main character replies that no, the guy helped her a lot during this whole time, and they will continue to work together in the future, so let the girl try to get along with him. To which she agrees, and Cheyenne addresses Miss Heliana with a message. The maid at this time thinks why that man continues to call the mistress Miss Heliana and not Miss Helga. She reacts as if everything is in order, and she probably has her own thoughts on this matter. Helga claims that today will finally be the opening of their store. The maid then asks if it really means that today is a very important day, and since the lady has taken control of the store into her own hands, it means that success will certainly await him. She noted that there are a lot of amazing things there, and if they were to hold a large-scale event, a lot of people would visit there. The main character understands that everything is, as the maid says, advertising is also very important, but so far she cannot reveal that she is a sorceress. For now, Salemio should be advertised using the legend that Cheyenne, who inherited the Seijin family's bloodline, accidentally created a magic tool using a magic stone. There are already various tales about the guy circulating on the streets, so it's time to add to those rumors stories about magic stones and magical tools. Since Sienna happened to work for her, she could be assigned this mission, after which the main character turns to the girl and says that she will have one task for her. The maid says that the mistress should just say so, and she will immediately take up the matter. The main character asks if she is seriously ready to do anything, to which her interlocutor replies that of course, for the sake of the mistress, she can carry out any order. Cheyenne replies that he too is very obedient and is ready to take on any job. At that moment, these two exchange menacing glances, and the main character, with a bright smile on her face, says how cute they both are. A little while later, the girl is sitting in a restaurant and reading a newspaper, but at that very moment she hears someone asking if her interlocutor heard that the girl is a distant relative of the owner of Solemio, and it seems that she lives exactly there. Therefore, as far as she knows, there is a noble red liquid in Cheyenne's veins. Therefore, it turns out that that girl is also an aristocrat, and most likely her family occupies a very high position in society. The main character realizes that it seems like everyone is still interested in who she is, after which one of the people says that there is much more interesting news, and she wonders if her interlocutor heard that Solemio has resumed trading again. A bird sang to her that the assortment seemed to have been replenished with such new items as magic tools that work with the help of magic stones. Another girl wondered if this meant that those rumors were true, and maybe it was worth stopping by there for a while later. Her interlocutor agrees and says that the very combination of words magic instrument makes the heart tremble. The main character, hearing all this, smiles and understands that apparently Sienna has done a good job with the mission entrusted to her. The lady recalls how she ordered to spread rumors about Solemio and not to be too intrusive. The maid agreed in response and said that she would not let the lady down. The girl understands that Sienna has relatives in Salaria, so she knows the locals well, so entrusting her with advertising the store was an excellent choice. Word of Cheyenne and Solemio is spreading around the area, so now there's only one thing left to do. It's an article in the tabloid newspaper, Salaria. This article should let people know that the rumors are true, and the girl is wondering if it's time to slowly start preparing Cheyenne. A little while later, the guy is already putting on a new suit and says that he and Nobert haven't seen each other for a long time. His friend says that he can't believe that the man he played with in the sandbox will appear before him in such a form, and apparently the rumors are true. He also asks if the guy got a good investor. The young man replies that everything just happened by itself, and thanks to the accidentally discovered magic stones, he was back afloat. He also remembers how the lady said that she had a small matter for him. He just needs to say the phrases that were written by her script, and the girl asked if he could handle it. The guy answered that of course he could, but now he is thinking why he blurted it out, because if he fails, Miss Heliana will definitely kill him. At this point, his interlocutor says that, nevertheless, he is lucky that he is his friend, after which he suggests that they begin the interview. The guy answers that yes and asks to ask questions in the simplest form. The young man understands that if he follows Miss Heliana's script, the interview will go like clockwork. His interlocutor at this time asks if Solemio will sell magic tools, to which the guy answers that yes. After all, in the future, they are going to sell magic tools that anyone can easily use. The journalist is interested in how he managed to create such magic tools, to which the guy replies that they used magic stones that contain mana, but the other says that as far as he knows, only mages are able to control the power of magic stones. After this, the young man thought about what to answer him, and when he looked at his hand, he claimed that as a distant descendant of the Seijin family, he could control magic stones a little. After which he even says that at the end of his research he accidentally found a magic stone and created magic tools that with the help of magic stones anyone can use with ease. The journalist asks if he could go into more detail about the story, after which the guy mentally asks Miss Heliana to save him. A little while later, the journalist says that it turned out pretty well, and he thinks that this amount of information is quite enough to get people's attention. His interlocutor at this time asks if this means that the interview is over and he will not ask him any more questions. His interlocutor replies that yes, and says that this is an excellent job because he will write a very good article for him, after which everyone wishes him good luck in business, and the guy sighs and realizes that he already thought that he would fall into eternal sleep from a broken heart, but then he thinks with a smile on his face that since the job is done, he should quickly return home and demand his due portion of praise. A little while later, the young man claims that Nobert is a very smart guy, so there is nothing to worry about. Of course, the lady provided him with most of the information in the form of a movie cheat sheet, but despite this, his heart was pounding like crazy. The main character then pats the guy on the head and says that he is a good boy. The young man 2 moments later replies that yes, next time the lady can also trust him with such work, because he thinks that his acting is really brilliant. The woman says that it is good, and thanks to him she can breathe a sigh of relief. The young man then wonders what else she will order him to do, but at that very moment the cutie hits him on the back, and he says that it's time to stop chatting and let the guy go and clean up the store and not hang around the lady. The young man then turns sadly to Miss Heliana again, and Sienna screams that before she gives him a kick in the ass, he should quickly get up and go to work. After which the maid puts her mistress's food on the table and says that she thinks it will take a little longer to prepare dinner, so let her eat a sandwich in the meantime. Helga replies that yes, and she will eat it with pleasure. The girl understands that recently, Sienna has made a firm decision to do everything possible for her to gain weight. Then the maid tells the lady to have a snack and wait a little because she will try to finish preparing dinner as soon as possible, to which the girl agrees. And when the maid leaves, the main character turns to Cheyenne, and when the guy approaches her, the lady realizes that he really does look like a dog. The girl tells him to eat some sandwiches, and the guy thanks her, after which the lady asks if it's tasty, and he should finish cleaning up quickly because then they'll go to dinner, to which he agrees and claims that he'll clean up in no time. When he runs away, the main character continues to write and realizes that at present, the store only sells very simple magic tools, such as music boxes, cameras, and location tracking accessories. But now they need to expand their range of magical tools, so she thinks she needs to look for some more books in Utopia. Luckily, she has a magical teleportation tool and a cute little boy sidekick waiting for praise.